Jared Loughner believed in nothing.
The friend who witnessed Loughner's descent.
He would deprive himself of sleep.
Did he change as he got further into no sleep?
Absolutely.
Speaks out.
This is something that needs to be told to people.
What you don't know about the Arizona tragedy.
Jared Loughner did this to break us apart as a country, and the more we bicker, the more he wins.
Plus, the mother who saved her daughter's life.
She was shot 3 times.
I'm a mama bear. That's not going to happen to my child.
Then, an emotional hero.
You sprung into action, saving his life.
Returns to the scene of the crime. Now, the aftermath of a shooting.
It's just the start of a new year, and we've already had a mass tragedy. This time, a shooting rampage in Tucson, Arizona. We know that you know what happened, but you may not know why. Today, I want to advance a responsible dialogue about what happened and what you probably don't know about the Arizona tragedy. We're going to examine how it impacts us all and what we can do, if anything, to prevent it from happening again. So we're not really as helpless as we all probably feel. Now, this kind of thing seems to happen 2 or 3 times a year. It's always shocking because healthy, stable, nonviolent people just can't wrap their minds around anyone doing this kind of thing. It's hard to predict it. It's hard to foretell it. That's why it catches us unaware. And then we typically learn disturbing information about the shooters, and we start asking why. How could this have been missed? Now take a look at the picture of this young man. Childhood friends describe him as caring, kind, and a sweet kid. He seemed to be headed for a bright future, but as the years passed, the adjectives used to describe Jared Loughner changed to creepy, very hostile, and someone who had a dark personality. So how does someone go from this innocent-looking boy to this, an accused mass murderer? 6 people lost their lives that day. 13 others were injured, including Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, who was shot in the head.
A gunman fired into a crowd at a public event, critically wounding Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords.
911, where's the emergency? There was a shooting at Square, and I do believe Gabby Giffords did.
At 7:27, he bought ammunition. At 7:30, he was stopped by police for running a red light and let go with a warning. And at 10:10, he opened fire on Representative Gabrielle Giffords.
At least 6 people are known dead, including a federal judge and a 9-year-old girl.
I want our democracy to be as good as Christina imagined it.
Well, Brandon Gano is an anchor for our Tucson affiliate, KVOA. He's been covering this story extensively, and I asked him to give us a tour of some of the key locations around Tucson where this all unfolded, including the Loughner family home.
Hey, Dr. Phil, I'm standing outside of Jared Loughner's house here in Tucson, where neighbors described him really as just kind of antisocial.
We're living next door to the Loughners. As you can see, their yard is very fenced off with plants. They like their privacy. From the father, I just get a very angry vibe. Jared's very to himself, and I've tried talking to him multiple times, and he says nothing to me.
Now, the morning of the shooting, they say the dad found Jared standing here by his old black Chevy with the black bag. Well, we now know that that black bag was full of ammunition, and when the dad started questioning about it, Jared ran into the desert, and that's the last the father saw him. This is where Jared bought the Glock 19 9mm pistol with an extended magazine so it can actually hold more bullets. He went to Walmart to buy the ammunition. Here at Pima Community College is really where the most bizarre behavior was reported. One time in class, he blurted out, "Why don't we just strap bombs to babies?" On the day of the shooting, he came here to the Safeway. That's where the shooting began, and police say that he shot Congresswoman Gabby Giffords in the head. While the Congresswoman is still inside the hospital recovering from her physical wounds, the nation is learning more about Jared Lee Loughner, clearly a man with an extremely troubled past.
Well, Brandon, thanks for your excellent tour to give everybody an understanding of kind of what happened that day. Everyone is trying to get a better understanding of who Jared Loughner is, and few people knew him better than Zane, who was one of Jared's close friends. He says he noticed a big change in him in February 2010.
I met Jared when I was a senior in high school. He was a very intelligent person. Anything Jared found an interest in, he'd learn everything and he'd obsess on it. Jared Loughner enjoyed shooting guns. When I first met Jared, I felt completely comfortable shooting firearms with him. I saw a dramatic change in Jared Loughner's behavior. He started out just a normal guy with little quirks. And as time went on, those quirks turned into the point where I wasn't sure Jared Loughner was aware of what was going on. Jared started thinking we were plotting against him. And at that point, if he lost control and he was holding a gun, I didn't want to be there. And Jared Loughner went from being a really receptive individual to being very close-minded. Jared Loughner, by the end of me knowing him, was an absolute nihilist. I mean, if you look at his mugshot, it didn't even look like him. That was a monster in that picture.
Zane, thanks for being here to kind of help us understand this. Had you been to his home?
I've been to his home briefly twice.
And you said it wasn't very warm and inviting.
No, sir. You walk in, it's like the parents would be in the home, and they would kind of just look around the corner to see who was here, and then they'd go back to whatever they were doing.
Did you actually meet them and talk to them?
I've never actually gone to meet them.
They never even introduced themselves?
No, I waved and say hi, and they just kind of look and then go back to whatever they were doing.
You said that he would deprive himself of sleep. Did he say why?
Jared did not believe in reality. Like I said, he was a nihilist. Things to him in what we would perceive as real, this chair, me and you talking right now, this didn't exist to Jared. And he would deprive himself of sleep to experience lucid dreaming. Like he would tell me I'm 2.5 days without sleep.
Did he change as he got further into no sleep?
Absolutely.
Because we know from a psychological perspective, if you keep somebody awake long enough, they're going to lose orientation. Did you see that in him?
Absolutely. Jared was opinionated always, but he'd be able to have a discussion with you on his opinions. When he started depriving himself of sleep, it was no longer a discussion. It was, no, this is how it is.
Well, you describe him as a nihilist, and for people that don't deal with that word every day, it generally describes someone that has a complete rejection of established laws, institution, favor anarchy, terrorism. You mean it in that literal sense?
Yes, Jared Loughner believed in nothing.
You said that if he is able to watch all of this right now, that this would please him, all the chaos.
In doing this, he wanted us to tear each other apart. And that's why I felt an obligation, even though this has been hard for me. I haven't been in home in about 6 days because I've been hiding from news and press. And this is something that needs to be told to people, is Jared Loughner did this to break us apart as a country, to break us apart as a community. And the more we bicker over these finite points, the more Jared Loughner is empowered and the more he wins.
Is there anything that you haven't touched on or feel a need to say that you want to say?
I'm very sorry. And I feel in some way, I don't know what I could have done. But every night I sit and I can't sleep because is there something I could have done? And I have 3 little sisters, and I see that 9-year-old girl, and it just breaks my heart.
I've been in psychology and the mental health profession for 35 years, and I am sad to tell you that I don't have the ability to predict which troubled person is likely to turn violent and do something like this. I mean, everybody looks at what happens after the fact and you go, wow, look at what he said. Yeah, look at what he did. But for every one of those people that actually carries that through, there are tens of thousands that have similar thoughts and similar verbalizations that never do anything. So your ability to foresee this, it would be very, very difficult, just as it would even for his family. And I hope you take care of yourself in the middle of all of this and recognize that he made the choice, not you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you so much. All right, next we're going to hear from one of Jared's classmates who says she was afraid of him and did make very specific predictions about what she feared. We'll find out what those were when we come back.
When Jared was in the classroom, I felt like I was on eggshells. I avoided eye contact with him. I didn't speak up in class when he was there. I didn't want to attract his attention.
I'm going back to the crime scene for the first time today. As soon as I arrived, I got very emotional.
Law enforcement sources tell CBS News that Loeffner's parents knew their son was becoming increasingly troubled, but were, quote, completely surprised by the shooting. Teachers and classmates at Pima Community College were not. In a 7-month span last year, police were called 5 times. He was suspended and told to get a mental health evaluation.
Evidence taken from the suspect's home this afternoon paints a disturbing picture about his mental state of mind. Federal agents say they took away his personal computer and the contents of a safe, including an envelope with the words, "I planned ahead, my assassination," and the name Giffords.
Well, joining me now to help kind of think through this for myself and for you, our legal analyst Lisa Bloom, former FBI profiler Clint Van Zandt, and forensic psychologist Dr. Joel Dvoskin. Now, guys, you just saw what we were talking about in terms of warning signs. And Clint, you said in every mass murder situation that you've been involved in, and tragically that's been a lot, that there are always warning signs and clues that lead up to it.
Yeah, there are, Dr. Phil. I have never yet seen a violence in a workplace scenario that you've covered over the years, or a mass murder where we don't have these dots, these pieces of a puzzle, these red flags that are there. The challenge is always that people either don't know what to look for, or they ignore them, or they don't put them together.
Well, here's my concern about this, and Doctor, help me here, because I think we always have 20/20 hindsight, and I wonder if warning signs is really the right terminology, because I don't know of a single set of signs or clues that predict which troubled person is going to get violent. Do we have that ability in psychology?
I agree with you completely what you said earlier, that the warning signs are warning signs of troubled people who need help. And we should get people help because they need help. The number of people who have anger and abuse substances and who feel disenfranchised and alone in the world, unfortunately, there's a lot of people like that. And most of them are never going to do something like this. The number's infinitesimal. So, but they need help. I mean, this was clearly a person who was telling the world that he needed help and that he was troubled. And he should have gotten help for that reason, whether we knew that he was going to commit this atrocity or not.
And, the worst thing that could happen in the aftermath of this is for people to get the wrong idea or discriminate against the mentally ill.
Absolutely.
Because most people with mental illness, whatever the disorder, are nonviolent and are doing the best they can in life to improve and get along and do better. Now, Lisa, you say that we probably will have an insanity defense here. How likely is that to be successful?
Very unlikely. The insanity defense is something that's generally offered in a case where there is mental illness, but it's a very high threshold to meet. Essentially, Jared Loeffner would have to show that he was incapable of understanding the consequences of his actions. He just could not conform his conduct to the law. But the fact that there was so much planning, that he went and bought the gun, he bought the extended magazine clip, he said goodbye to his friends on MySpace, shows a level of planning that he knew what he was doing. So that's why I think the insanity defense would not prevail.
Well, there was one person who did believe that Jared was in fact a threat. Linda Sorensen was a college classmate of his who told many people in advance that she was scared of him. We sat down with her at her home in Arizona. Take a look.
When we first heard about the shootings, I was horrified. I said to my husband, I won't be at all surprised if Jared is the person who has done this. We were in a math class together at Pima College. This is the classroom where I had the math class with Jared, where he would have the outbursts that were irrational. Jared's behavior in the class was very peculiar. He would laugh at inappropriate times. He would sit with that frightening smile on his face. His behavior was never appropriate to what was happening in the classroom. The very first day, Jared spoke out and said, "This is a scam. How do you get away with teaching fraudulent material?" The teacher asked Jared to leave the room. Jared would not leave. I started to become frightened. When Jared was in the classroom, I felt like I was on eggshells. I avoided eye contact with him. I didn't speak up in class when he was there. I didn't want to attract his attention. I sent an email to my family and said that I hoped that they would remove him before he came into class with a weapon. In this room, I sat by the door. I had my purse on my desk. I had my phone on my desk so that if I needed to leave the room quickly, I could.
On June 1st of 2010, she says, hopefully he will be out of class very soon and not come back with an automatic weapon. On June 14th, she says, he is one of those whose picture you see on the news after he has come into class with an automatic weapon.
You know, you look, Dr. Phil, you look at the number of people, though, that had a piece of this. His college fellow students knew, the administration knew, the counselor at the college knew, the university police department knew, the local sheriff's office knew. The military wouldn't take him in. I mean, we're desperate to get people to stand up for this country with guns overseas, and the military doesn't want to put a gun in this guy's hand. With all of these pieces out there, with practitioners and mental health and other areas, there was still no common table, Dr. Phil, where these puzzle pictures could be put together to give us this terrible face of this mass murderer.
If I could just add to that, please. The disturbing thing is he was found to be too dangerous to go to community college, too dangerous to go to a Pilates class, too dangerous to be in the military, and yet we allow him to legally obtain a semi-automatic weapon with an extended clip. The United States regularly has mass shootings, as you say, 2 or 3 times a year. And unfortunately, I think we're going to continue to have them. This is a very rare occurrence in Western Europe, Japan, East China. Why? Because they don't allow anyone to get their hands on semi-automatic weapons. We have to change our laws to say, no, you're not allowed to get a semi-automatic weapon with an extended clip.
We do have over 300 million sets of eyes out there looking at what's going on with our neighbors. But most people, I think, Doctor, you probably agree with this, most people really don't know how to approach someone like that. And if you go up and start being critical and saying, you know, you're acting crazy, or you seem really out of control, they're going to get defensive about that. So it's difficult for folks to do.
You know, one thing that I encourage people to do a lot when they identify somebody who needs help or who's troubled, and I have to say, it's going to sound like I'm saying this because I'm on your show, but your show and Oprah Winfrey's show really have helped, because it's now comfortable for people to talk about being under a lot of stress or in distress. And that seems to be something that people feel less stigma about. If you tell somebody, I think you're angry, they're going to go, oh, I'm not angry. Or if you say, you know, you're depressed, people don't want to acknowledge that. But when you ask people now if they're under stress, it's comfortable for people to talk about that.
Well, I'm going to put on drphil.com some do's and don'ts about how to approach someone if you're concerned that they may need some help. And I can tell you one of the keys that has worked for me is if you tell people they need help, they sometimes get a little threatened. But if you tell them they deserve help, they sometimes receive it as a gift instead of a threat. Next, we're going to talk to an eyewitness to the shooting who makes an emotional return to the scene, plus home video of Jared Loughner that got him suspended from college.
I'm going back to the crime scene for the first time today. This pillar saved my life.
This is my genocide school, or I'm going to be homeless because of this school. I even forgot the teacher that gave me the B for freedom of speech. They're controlling the grammar. in right now is currently illegal under the Constitution. What makes it illegal is the currency. This is my genocide school, or I'm going to be homeless because of the school. I even forgot the teacher that gave me the B for freedom of speech. They're controlling the grammar. They control the grammar. If the student is unable to locate the external universe, then the student is unable to locate the internal universe. This is Jared from Pima College.
Well, that was an excerpt from a disturbing video Jared Loughner posted on YouTube. Now, Anna had no idea she was going to run into that man when she took a simple trip to the grocery store. She invited our cameras along when she went back to the scene of the crime for the very first time.
I left my house Saturday morning, went to the closest grocery store, and there was some campaigning going on. I looked over and had seen Christina standing in line, and she had so much enthusiasm and excitement for visiting the Congresswoman, and she kept saying, "I'm next." I did see the shooter. I thought it was just a person coming up to find out about the Congresswoman. The gunfire started. I dropped to my knees and crawled under a table. Once the firing had stopped, I looked up, and the closest person to me was Ron Barber. I crawled out and rendered aid. He said something about a ting in his cheek, and I did not want to tell him he was shot in the face. To look over and see Christina, that breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart. I'm going back to the crime scene for the first time today. As soon as I arrived, I got very emotional.
Okay.
Once I got up to the area, it just a lot of flashbacks. People falling. I just remember Congresswoman Giffords laying in front of me. I saw Gabe. I saw the judge. I saw Ron. It's just very difficult, very hard. This pillar saved my life. Thank you, pillar. I'll never forget. I'll never forget this.
It's kind of a miracle that you're alive and that you're here. Did it help to go back to where this happened?
It did help me to go back, yes.
Why?
I think I needed to see that scene differently. I wanted to see that there were actually lives that were saved that day.
Well, you very wisely and instinctively took cover during the seconds that the bullets were being sprayed, but then you overcame the fear of paralysis, sprung into action with Ron Barber, and played a very important role in saving his life. God bless you for doing that.
Thank you.
What's been your reaction to all of this?
It's going to be a long time for me. I'm going to need some therapy, I'm sure.
What haunts you the most about it?
Just the senselessness of what happened. So many people lost their lives for no reason.
I'm sure that you're going to have lots of opportunity for help in the healing process here, but I want you to understand, and everybody to understand, when they go through tragedy, it's not a weakness to have a reaction. Mm-hmm. It's a very normal response to something that's so far outside of your normal life pattern. I wanted to talk about some of the warning signs of an adverse reaction to tragedy, because if you're either yourself or loved ones, you want to look for signs of emotional pain, such as crying, unexplained angry outbursts, or fear responses, and you've had all of that, I know. They tend to relive what happened, either awake or in dreams, and if that persists across a long period of time, you may be suffering from a post-traumatic stress disorder, and there is help for that. If you notice yourself or loved ones beginning to withdraw and isolate themselves, that's a sign. If they show persistent signs of depression, anxiety, or mood swings, now naturally you're going to have some of that in the short term, but I'm talking about if it persists. If you see a major change in habits like grooming or how much time they spend on hobbies or socialization or other typical patterns, anything that's a persistent shift away from what was their normal, then you need to say, wow, you know, this is hanging on to me and I need to reach out and get some help for this. All right, next we're going to hear from the intern credited with helping to save Congresswoman Gifford's life, and we'll talk to a mom who used her own body as a shield to protect her young daughter. Right back.
I felt a gunshot and I threw my daughter against the wall and then looked towards the shooter. He had an oddly blank face.
Well, in the midst of the chaos of the Arizona shooting, several heroes emerged. One of them was Daniel Hernandez, an intern for Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, who rushed in to help save her life after she was shot through the head. He sat down with us in Tucson just the other day.
I was helping to check people in for Congress in Your Corner for Congresswoman Giffords. About 10 minutes into the event, we heard shots being fired, so I ran towards where the Congresswoman would be. When I got towards Congresswoman Gifford, she was kind of slumped over and it was hard for her to breathe. I wanted to make sure that she didn't asphyxiate on her own blood, so I picked her up and propped her up against my chest so that she could breathe properly. Once she was sitting in an upright position, I then started applying pressure to her wound to try and stem some of the blood loss. She was alert and conscious the entire time I was with her. She was still awake when we got to UMC in Tucson.
We are grateful to Daniel Hernandez, a volunteer in Gabby's office. And Daniel, I'm sorry you may deny it, but we've decided you are a hero because you ran through the chaos to minister to your boss and tended to her wounds and helped keep her alive.
I still have to reject the title of hero, even though the president referred to me as such. I think the real heroes are people like Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, Ron Barber, her district director, Ham Simon, who works in her office, and also Gabe Zimmerman, who unfortunately lost his life. These are dedicated public servants who have given up a lot of their time and a lot of their lives to try and help others.
A hero, no doubt. Now, miraculously, Gabrielle Giffords seems to be making amazing strides in her recovery. Now, I wanted to help understand this because so many people have asked about it. So I asked Dr. Neil Martin. He is the chief of neurosurgery at UCLA Medical Center to join us today to talk about what has happened to the Congresswoman. He says that her progress so far is extraordinarily good. Doctor, thanks for being here. What can you tell us about what you know about her injuries? Because we think a bullet passed through and through her brain. How in the world do you survive that?
Well, we only know what we've heard through the news reports, but apparently the path of the bullet, which is really the most critical thing for survival, was from front to back. It did not pass from side to side, and that's the most dangerous bullet path because the critical central areas of the brain that control consciousness, breathing, and life-saving functions of the brain are injured from a side-to-side injury.
Given what we do know, and she has been upgraded, by the way, from critical to serious, so we're so pleased to hear that. What is the likelihood of a return to some level of normal functioning? Is it possible?
Well, she's already beaten the odds because more than two-thirds of patients don't survive a gunshot wound to the brain such as this. Perhaps only 10% have a good functional recovery. So over the next weeks and months, her medical team will be watching carefully for the signs of recovery.
Well, that's very helpful. Thank you so much. Now, Mary Reed is living proof of how far a mother will go to protect her children. She was shot 3 times during the rampage and used her body as a shield to protect her teenage daughter, Emma. She joins us now from Tucson. Mary, thank you so much for joining us.
You're so welcome.
So tell me, first, tell me how you're feeling.
I'm recovering. I was in pain over the weekend, but today I'm feeling much better. Thank you.
Now, Mary, every mother in America is standing up and applauding you, I know, but tell us, because, I mean, people always want to know what in the world goes through your mind at the time.
Well, we heard the popping, and then I felt a gunshot, and when I felt that, I threw my daughter against the wall and then looked towards the shooter. He had an oddly blank face. I don't know. When you see on TV, you see this rageful look. That's not how he looked. He was perfectly blank, but I could see his intent on going down and shooting everyone in line. And so that just, I'm a mama bear. It was not going to happen to my child.
Tell us how your daughter is doing with all this at this point.
Dr. Phil, I need help I don't want her to be that girl that was in the tragedy whose mother threw her against the wall and had bullets. I need help with that. I need to know where the balance of how we're going to work through this together.
Well, Mary, let me say first off, time does not heal all wounds. It's what you do with that time actually that makes the greatest impact. But I would really encourage you to just kind of let things calm down and let things settle down and let her process this through her thoughts and her emotions and see where she comes out. And by all means, if she needs some help accommodating to this, if she needs somebody to sit down and talk to besides you, because you are so intimately involved in saving her life at this point, then please allow us to make available to you some professional help right there in your hometown.
Thank you.
Up next, his wife brought little Christina Green to the event that day and was also shot. Now he says she is tormented by the child's death.
Mourners paid a tearful farewell to another victim of the tragedy, federal judge John Roll.
Thursday, this 9/11 baby was carried to her funeral beneath a flag that survived the attack on the World Trade Center.
My son's a classmate of Christina's. He began having nightmares about it, so I thought I would bring him to the memorial service.
Well, Bill Howman's wife, Susie, was shot 3 times at the Congress on Your Corner event. He says Susie is tormented because she is the one who brought 9-year-old Christina Green to meet Congresswoman Giffords, where she was killed. Now, Bill joins us now via satellite from Tucson. Bill, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Tell us, first off, tell us how your wife is doing physically.
Susie's made real good progress in the past 2 days. She was moved out of the ICU into an orthopedic ward. Strength is returning to Susie.
Oh, that's just so terrific. I'm so glad to hear that. Now, you do say that on the emotional side, Susie's memories of the shooting have gotten clearer and clearer as she kind of comes out of all the anesthesia and all. What's her reaction to that?
Her initial reaction was a very strong one of anger. What was most on Susie's mind was her role as a guardian of Christina. And she's had one significant emotional downturn night before last. She got her first full view of what, in fact, this incident has done to herself physically, and her body has been decimated. That seemed to trigger things, but then whenever the weak moments arrive, inevitably, we get into crying and grieving over Christina's loss and the pain that her parents are inevitably suffering right now.
Has she had an opportunity to talk with Christina's parents?
They have been incredible from the get-go. Roxana emailed Susie the day after the event when they had to be at the absolute depths of the grief that they were experiencing and took time out to support Susie with assurances of our families care for one another, and they are planning a visit to Susie soon here in the hospital so that the 4 of us can get together for the first time.
Please let her know that we are praying for her and for you, and that we wish you the best, and that remind her this was the act of a very deranged individual, and certainly not anything that she contributed to in even a minor way.
Thank you, sir.
My next guest's husband gave his life trying to protect her from the mass killer in Arizona. We'll be right back.
Dorwin and Mavi Stoddard grew up in Tucson together. His final act of selflessness was to dive on top of his wife, sacrificing his life for hers.
Mavi joins us via satellite from Tucson, where she is recovering from being shot in the leg. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us how you're doing before we get started on anything else.
I'm doing well. I was not injured nearly as badly as most of them were, and Dory saved my life.
You met Dorwin in the 6th grade. He was your first boyfriend and your first kiss?
Oh, yes, but he had to improve for 50 years before he could have me.
You two actually grew apart. You married other people, and you each had 4 children. Is that right?
That's right. We were both married 41 years to mates that died. He had 4 boys, and I have 4 girls. And they're all my support system.
Well, what a love story this is. And so then you move back to Tucson and you reconnect.
Yes, a cousin reintroduced us, and after I finally let him kiss me, we got married 2 months later. And it would be 15 years this February.
You say that you have actually forgiven the man that shot you and shot and killed your husband. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. The Lord tells me not to hate, to love.
Well, Mavi, I am so very sorry for your loss. And you say you feel a degree of challenge now about what you do with your life since Dorwin gave his to protect yours.
That's right. I don't know quite what I'll do with it, but I have to be busy, and he's going to be sorely missed.
Just, Mavi, know that you will certainly be on my prayer list and Robin's, and we'll be wishing you the best, and we thank you for your message that you've shared with everyone today.
Thank you, Dr. Phil.
Thank you so much.
Dory loved to watch you when he was home.
All right, I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. When I started the Dr. Phil Show now 9 years ago, one of the things I said is that I wanted to open up the dialogue about mental health and mental illness in America. And this is certainly too high a price to pay to advance that dialogue, but we have to take lessons from everything that happens. I wish I could tell you that there was a profile where we could predict who was going to become violent and who wasn't, but we can't identify which troubled person is going to do that. But what we can do is recognize there are troubled people in society, and we can try as citizens of the world to reach out to them. If somebody had reached out to this person, would it have made a difference? We can only speculate. But I can tell you that our job is to be compassionate. Our job is to reach out to those that are on the fringe, those that are disenfranchised. It's our job. I'd like to thank all of my guests for being here today and sharing their stories, because I know that they're difficult things to talk about. Our hearts and prayers are with the survivors and the families of the victims in Arizona. For more information on today's show and to see some of today's interviews in their entirety, log on to drphil.com. In the wake of this tragedy, there's been a lot of focus on the accused gunman, Jared Loughner. As we say goodbye, I'd like to take a moment to focus on the innocent lives that were lost that day.
today on Dr. Phil.
We're driving drunk.
It only took 6 seconds to go from laughter to dead silence.
Dessalines was the only survivor of a crash that killed both friends.
She still wants to party. She still wants to drink.
Do you have a death wish? Have you gotten in cars since then with drivers who are drinking?
Yes, I have.
I want to show you something. This is a video of what appears to be a normal night out. Friends having a good time, dancing and partying. The problem is they're teenagers. They're drunk and about to get in a car. 3,000 pounds of metal careening down the road. What's different about this story is that every second of what you're about to see was captured on tape.
We're driving drunk. We got tonight. We know what we going. Yes. University Boulevard.
We need emergency right now. There's people trapped in the car. There's 3 people in there?
Yes, all 3 were in front. My sister-in-law was like, there's nobody moving. He's not moving. He looks dead. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, the way. Oh my God, he looks dead. Oh my God, he looks dead.
Hey, listen, we're going to get you out in a minute, okay?
Horrific late-night crash. 2 young women are dead and another is in the hospital.
Friends say that these women were coming home from a party. Their vehicle went off the road. It hits the fence and then it hit this brick embankment.
During the crash, they hit the brick so hard, the SUV crumbled. Parts flew into the tree and even the power lines.
Everyone is devastated.
Tamara Johnson was just 19. Police say she was sitting in the back seat. The driver, Janice Richards, was 22. Both died at the scene. The only survivor is 18-year-old Dessalines James. They crashed just a mile and a half from Dessalines' house.
Well, the only survivor of that horrific car crash is that young woman, Dessalines, whose life will never be the same.
On December 29th, there was this new club that opened. So we decided after work that we were gonna go out to the club. I was with 2 of my friends, one of them being my roommate and my best friend, and another girl who was her coworker. My dad got me a new video camera. I recorded everything. I remember dancing, having fun.
Please go to your car and drive home safe.
I remember we were driving home.
We're driving drunk. We got tonight. We know what we going. Yes.
When I woke up in the car after the accident, I called Tamara's name 3 times. I remember her not answering me, but I was stuck. I didn't know what was going on. Like, I knew trouble, but I didn't know death. I remember them covering my face, and I remember the fireman lifting me out the car after they cut the door open. And I remember him lifting me onto the stretcher. When I went to the hospital, that's when they were like, you were in a serious car accident. The police came into the room. I was like, where's Tamara? And he was like, wait, nobody told you yet? They're dead. I just broke down. I was in the hospital for 5 days. My left hip was injured. I couldn't walk. I suffered from short-term memory loss. And when I got out, I was in a wheelchair. A lot of times when I would go to sleep, I would have nightmares. It's now going on 2 years. I do have some nights where I stay up and I think about them. I think about what happened. The one thing about the accident that I can't get out of my mind is seeing my friend's dead body, seeing my friend take her last breath.
Well, even though she was discharged from the hospital after 5 days and began the road to physical recovery, she says her emotional scars are still raw and far from healed.
After the accident, I kind of had survivor's guilt, knowing that my best friend died. Tamara deserved the life more than me. What was really unfair about that night was I felt like she didn't deserve to die because she wasn't a drinker, she didn't drink, and her life was taken. The hardest part about moving on after I got out of the hospital was going back to an empty house, having to pack her stuff up. I would go there to cry. I would go to her grave to talk to her. She was my friend that I spent like 99% of my time with.
Well, Desalina, I'm glad to meet you, but I'm sorry for the circumstances under which we're doing it. And I'm sorry for your loss. You lost two very good friends. Who was it on the tape that says, we're driving drunk tonight?
Me.
What was the exact quote?
If we die tonight, we know where we're going.
How do you feel about hearing yourself say that now, after the fact?
Well, at first I felt guilty because I kind of felt like I jinxed us in a way.
How were you able to get in the club and buy alcohol underage?
It was easy, you know. At the time, it was really easy. You just pay at the door and you go in.
This is a video snapshot of the last moment your best friend was alive. Now, this was taken in the car, and she's happy and alive, and y'all are having a really good time.
Yes.
Did you make mistakes that night?
Yes, I did. No.
What was wrong? What did you do wrong?
I got into the car knowing that Janice was drunk. I got into the car. I drank. That was wrong.
Well, it's interesting that you start your explanation there. I have one goal here, and that's to help you get better. But to do that, I have to know where we're starting. And I said, what did you do wrong that night? And you said, well, got into the car knowing the driver was drinking. You didn't say going to a club underage. You didn't say getting drunk and impairing my own judgment. You didn't have any problem with any of that. It was just getting in the car. Was there a reason that you didn't mention that you, A, shouldn't have been there to begin with, B, were committing a crime, drinking underage? Do those things matter to you at all? Do you think about it that way?
No, I don't see it that way. I don't see nothing wrong with going to the club. Maybe drinking underage, I see something wrong with that. But I just went out to have fun.
It was breaking the law to do what the two of you that were underage were doing. How old was the driver?
22.
And your friend was 19. And she wasn't drinking at all. Why not?
She's not a drinker. She doesn't like alcohol.
She looked like she was sure having fun.
Yes.
How about you? Can you have fun without drinking?
I can try.
But do you generally, or do you feel like you need to be drinking to party?
I mean, I've never had fun sober.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never had fun sober. Why do you think that is?
Because when you're a little tipsy, you have more fun.
That's shocking to me to hear you say. And I haven't had a drink in probably 40 plus years, and I have a hell of a good time. So I know it's possible to do that. But this happened 2 years ago, and you said your mistake was getting in the car with a drunk driver. Have you gotten in cars since then with drivers who are drinking?
Yes, I have.
Wow. How do you explain that?
I can't explain it. I was more cautious. I made sure that they were driving straight, I guess.
Straight?
I spoke to them. I was like, you know, what happened to me in the past, and they assured me that they were fine.
Well, Desaline says her life took another unexpected turn after she contacted the local news in an effort to help other teens. Take a look at this.
One day, I was watching the news. I remember Andrea McCarran popped up on our TV.
Andrea joins us live to show us a place teenagers have allegedly been buying alcohol for years.
It is illegal to sell under 21.
I remember emailing Andrea, and I was like, I would like to share something with you. I would like to help.
Even though she's just 18, Desaline said it was no problem getting alcohol.
Maybe I'm here to save somebody else. The rules and the limitations on going into the club, they weren't so strict on alcohol, but after they were.
You're about to see and hear 2 young people die. 3 exuberant young women hurtled from sheer joy to this in just 6 seconds.
Most people were upset about the fact that the video went viral and felt like I should have respected my best friend and my friend's death. My intentions were not to impact the family any worse than they were already impacted by it.
We agonized over whether to show it, but the young woman behind the video camera urged us to do so. She hopes, as we do, that it will save someone's life.
Okay. Now, how do you think you're doing adjusting to this?
Well, at first, when the accident first happened, I was like, okay, well, maybe if I like help other people, then I would like get over it. But then after I did that, like nothing changed. I didn't like feel better about myself. I still had survivor's guilt. So I just stopped doing that for a while, and I just went into this phase where I went back drinking. Like, it was my I didn't care phase. I didn't care about life.
I understand. But you're angry. But you say you're not angry about the accident. Were you angry before the accident?
I think I'm angry at God or like whoever caused the accident.
Now, there were 2 people who saw that news piece that we just had a look at who have major concerns for Desaline's life. Now, they're here, and I'm going to add them to this conversation when we come back.
I am concerned that Desaline is on a self-destructive path.
She likes to party, going off drinking for days at a time.
Desaline has a problem with anger.
She wants to kill whoever made her upset.
If Desaline does not change her path, she could lose her life.
And later, and I'm not ignorant.
No, you're not being ignorant. You're just irritating.
And I am listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to help you.
When the accident first happened, I just started living reckless because I was just angry. I blamed everybody except for me and my 2 friends. I admit that sometimes I do have fits of rage and anger. I become a different person. When I get angry, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna fight you. I'm not pulling your hair. I'm not slapping you. We don't fight like men. When I have a fit of rage, I black out and I'm out for blood. You see the devil in me.
Well, that was Desaline, the sole survivor of a drunk driving car accident that killed her 2 friends 2 years ago. It only took 6 seconds to go from laughter to dead silence. Now, since the accident, Desaline says things have gone from bad to worse. Then, strangers stepped up. They offered to help.
We heard Desaline's story on the news.
Desaline was just 18, videotaping a night of partying from the front passenger seat of a friend's car, when the life she had known was shattered in a matter of seconds.
I'm still in denial.
Desaline was the only survivor of a breathtaking crash that killed both friends.
What struck me the most about her story was that at such a young age, she had lost her friends in a car accident that could be best described as horrific.
Where I'm at now, it would have been better if I had died.
That was Dessalene less than 5 months ago, when her life had taken another devastating turn. Her mother threw her out of the house when she learned Dessalene was pregnant.
Everybody turned their backs on me. My life has gone completely downhill.
When I heard Dessalene was homeless and pregnant, I knew we had to help her.
Brenda contacted the reporter, and we changed the guest room into her bedroom, and here we are. I am concerned that Dessalene is on a self-destructive path.
She likes to party, going off drinking for days at a time.
Dessalene's lifestyle includes what she calls the trap life, where you party, you drink, you smoke, and it's all about going 100 miles an hour all the time.
Most of the time when she goes out and she comes back, she's high.
Dessalene has a problem with anger.
When Dessalene's raging, she wants to kill whoever made her upset.
She will say things like, I will have you and your whole family killed, I'll walk over someone's grave.
Most recently, Dessalene was in a fight at work with another young lady in the parking lot. The police were called.
I told Dessalene that if she gets arrested, I'm not bailing her out.
Stop calling my phone or I'm going to cuss y'all out. Bye.
With Dessalene's anger problems, I've been concerned that she would hurt someone in the house.
If Dessalene does not change her path, she could lose custody of her son. She could lose her life. Dessalene is saying that she wants success, but I don't think she knows how to get there.
Well, Brenda, Michael, I'm glad to meet the two of you, and God bless you for stepping up in this young girl's life. What moved you to do that?
Every time I see that video, I kind of cry, you know? And I made a comment to my family when it first aired, and then my wife said that she would follow up, and she got in contact with the correspondent, and everything moved from there.
Are y'all glad that you've come to know her and that you've taken her in?
Yes.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about the fact that they stepped up and took you in?
I'm okay with it. I'm glad.
You're okay with it?
I'm happy.
You're still not drinking age, but do you feel like you drink too much?
I drank, but I don't drink. I don't think I drink too much. I might drink too much at the time when I'm drinking, but not every day.
You said it helps you numb the pain.
Yes.
How many seconds do you think it took for your friends to die?
Well, 6.
And you feel guilty that you're still here?
Yes, sometimes I do.
Do you have a death wish?
No, I don't.
Because you seem to be behaving in a reckless fashion to me. And one of the things I know about people that are reckless is they're not just daredevils. There's a segment of that group that just doesn't really care. It's just kind of like, I probably don't deserve to be here anyway. I mean, I probably shouldn't have survived, so, you know, what the hell? Do you have an attitude about that?
Sometimes I do.
And what is it? What is that attitude? What do you say to yourself sometimes?
I don't care.
About?
Anything.
Yeah.
Including whether you live or die?
Maybe, yeah.
Do you think she has a death wish?
I wonder.
How about you, Brenda?
No, I don't think so.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not. I made some notes because I wanted to see if this was right. Would you agree that you're still out there partying?
Yes.
And you say there's nothing wrong with that. It's just girls having fun, right?
Yes.
But you're a mother now.
Yes.
You'll leave the baby with these people sometimes for 2 or 3 days and go stay with your sister and y'all party, right?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
Is that reasonable to you?
Yes.
That's reasonable to you. And how old's your baby?
6 months.
6-month-old baby. All right, well, let's take a break. We're going to meet Dessalene's twin, who says she was supposed to go out that fatal night, but she didn't. We'll hear why she changed her mind when we come back.
When Desaline is hanging out with her sister, that usually means that there's alcohol involved.
When I get around my twin sister, I will drink more than I should.
Sometimes I expect to get a call saying that she's locked up.
And later, was she responding to something that she thought you had done or not done?
I don't care what she thinks. Just don't call me a bad mom because I'm a
Well,
good
you obviously
mom.
do care what she thinks because you were going to put your baby in the back seat and go whip her ass. We're talking Desaline, the sole survivor of a teen drunk driving accident that claimed the lives of her two friends. Now, she's been trying to live in the present, but even her twin sister says that she just hasn't been able to let go of the past. Take a look at this.
Desaline calls me when she wants to go out and have fun. When I am around my sister, I feel like she encourages me to drink and party.
Desaline is a bit like Peter Pan. She doesn't want to grow up. When Desaline is hanging out with her sister, she likes to, as she says, turn it up, and that usually means that there's alcohol involved or some kind of substance.
When I get around my twin sister, I will drink more than I should.
I've been worried when she's out with her sister drinking and partying that something's going to happen. Sometimes I expect to get a call saying that she's locked up.
Desiree, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I've said I have some concerns that emotionally she is damaged by this. She is hurt by this still. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. I think so. When she gets mad, I guess she just gets like psycho mad.
What are you shaking your head about?
They'll get psycho mad. Some people contain their anger and then they have to battle it within themselves. I let it out so I don't have nothing to battle when I go to sleep at night.
What are we likely to see when you get upset?
Well, I talk to myself first. Like, I tell myself, is this person really serious? Like, do they know who they're messing with?
Have you bloodied her nose before?
Yes, I did.
You blooded my lip, not my nose.
Your lip. Now, when you get mad, you say you kind of black out?
Yes, sometimes.
You just have blank, you don't know what all happened in there.
Like, I mean, I know what I'm doing, but it's just, I can't control my anger. Like, I have to get you.
Do you get so mad that you have said, I will kill you and your whole family?
Yes. I'm not violent. I'm actually a very sweet person. You have to bring me out of character and take me to that point where I'm going to put hands on you for me to tell you that stuff.
Okay, and what gets you there? What kind of things get you there?
People being ignorant, you're not listening to me, you talking over me, you threatening me, not giving me, sometimes, like, not giving me what I want, and basically, like, irritating me.
How am I doing?
You getting up there.
I'm climbing the ladder?
Yes.
I mean, I know I've passed irritating.
Yeah.
I'm irritating you.
Very much so.
Twin, that's not nice.
You what?
She said that's not nice.
But I'm not ignorant.
No, you're not being ignorant. You're just irritating.
And I am listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to help you. I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm not trying to be critical of you. I think you made some serious mistakes that night, and you admit some of them, and I mentioned the others. But I also think that you were a victim as well. All right, let's take a break. Next, Desaline claims to love being a mom, yet she also says her 6-month-old annoys her too. When he cries, and she admits to almost throwing her baby across her car in anger. I said almost. She didn't do it. Was what happened something that caused her to have an extra steep hill to climb in being able to connect as a mother? We'll be right back.
Desaline has little patience and tolerance for Jada.
She still wants to party. She still wants to drink. Jada stays here. She goes out and does what she wants to do, and then she comes back.
Desaline had told me in the past that she never wanted kids.
When Desaline said that, I was a bit shocked But the reality is, she has a child. She is a mother.
I never wanted kids. Since I'm a new mom, one of the hardest things for me is when he's crying. I've changed him, I've burped him, I've fed him. Like, nothing is working. It annoys me. I lose all hope. I don't know what to do. It gets me angry.
Desaline has little patience and tolerance for Jaden. There's been times when she's put him out of her room and just left him in the hole because he was crying.
My biggest fear, if I don't change my rage, anger, and drinking, is that I'm gonna end up losing my son.
I'm curious, you say that your fear is that if you don't get, like, your rage and maybe your drinking and partying under control, that you could lose your son.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that?
Because maybe I can get angry and hurt him, but I would never do that.
But do you think about it sometimes?
Yeah.
You think about hurting. What do you think about?
I think about maybe if I get too angry. Well, I never get angry at my son. First of all, I never get angry at my child. Only reason I almost threw him, I didn't throw him. Like, somebody was irritating me. I wanted to put him in the car seat. The car seat was on the other side of the car. So I, like, put him in the car seat, and I was gonna get that person.
And what had that person done, by the way?
She called me a bad mom.
Why did she do that?
Because she talked too much.
I mean, was she responding to something that she thought you had done or not done?
I don't care what she thinks. Just don't call me a bad mom because I'm a good
Well, you obviously do care what she thinks because you were going to put your baby in the back seat and go whip her ass. So you do care, obviously, what people
I care
think.
I care about, like, the fact that she had all the nerves in the world to come call me a bad mom. That's what I care about. I don't care about her actually deep thinking and thinking, oh, Desaline is a bad mom. I don't care about that. The fact that you had enough nerves to come say it to me, you deserve an ass whooping. So she was going to get it.
Right there with your baby there?
No, he was going to be in the car seat.
Oh, you were going to put him in the car seat, and then you were going to have a fight beside the car.
Come back, right?
No, inside the car.
Oh, inside the car?
Yeah.
Why didn't the fight happen?
Because of Mike.
Yeah. You got fired from a job, right?
Yeah.
Why did you get fired?
Because I fought my coworker.
Am I right in understanding she was 16?
Maybe. I don't know how old she was.
Do you know what happens if that happens? I mean, do you understand assault and battery on a minor?
Yes, it was explained to me.
And jail?
Mm-hmm.
And baby. So we got baby, I can whip this girl, go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the baby then?
I wasn't thinking about that at the time.
You don't think you party too much?
I'm 20 years old.
Oh, you just wanted to remind me that you're not legally drinking age yet? Thank you. We've talked to these folks about behaviors that are questionable in terms of your parenting. I made a list, and I'll tell you what it is, because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Wow. They observe that you're on the phone or FaceTime and that that's a top priority versus your child.
I disagree.
Okay. That you get annoyed when the baby cries.
I disagree.
That you have others at home that hold and care for the baby.
All right, I can do it by myself.
September 13th, you fight with this underage employee at work. You get fired from your job. You get your last paycheck and you give it to your sister for rent. And they say on average of about twice a month, you go to Desarine's to party for 3 to 5 days while they babysit.
It's not 3 to 5 days. It's just like from Friday to Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yeah.
That's 3 to 5. You don't think you party too much?
I only go out like once or twice a month. I'm 20 years old.
You just wanted to remind me that you're not legally drinking age yet? Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. But look, here's my concern. I think that what happened to you in that car crash was the result of irresponsible and reckless behavior on everyone's part. I think it was reckless for them to serve you in that club. I think it was reckless for them to let you leave and get in a car and take off when somebody was drunk. I think your attitude was reckless and cavalier and saying, boy, if we get killed tonight, we know where we're going. I think it was reckless to be doing 94 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone and hit a brick wall and kill 2 people. So what I look at is, did you learn from that?
Yes,
because after the fact, I see here's her behavior before this event happened. Here's her behavior after this event happened. I see some things going on with you that I think you are suffering from PTSD. I haven't evaluated you fully. I haven't done all the right tests. I haven't scanned your brain, done psychometrics. But based on what I'm seeing, that would be on my short list of considerations. I think that you are out there venting anger in a violent way, and you don't have the right to do that when you have a child at home. That's just what I'm telling you. And next, we return to the crash site with the affiliate reporter who covered this story. We're going to talk about what I mean when I say PTSD and from where it emanates. We'll be right back.
The car came barreling up on the sidewalk. You could see tire treads on the grass here, catapulted up onto this brick wall. The crash was so violent that it actually flung parts of the vehicle into the air, and all the time, Dessalines was rolling videotape. They were traveling, according to police, at speeds of 94 miles per hour. This is a 40-mile-per-hour zone. They came around that bend, and it was clear the driver lost control. The car came barreling up on the sidewalk. You could see tire treads on the grass here, catapulted up onto this brick wall. The crash was so violent that it actually flung parts of the vehicle into the air, and all the time, Dessalines was rolling videotape. And what was particularly chilling is the tape continued to roll, even after the death of her 2 friends. Has anyone ever seen videotape of a drunk driving crash in progress that leaves 2 young people with promising lives dead? After Dessalines survived something so traumatic, I don't think it's all that surprising that she ended up pregnant, that she was tossed out of the house, that she continued to drink, because frankly, she never got the help that she desperately needs. And I believe Dr. Phil can give Dessalines the help she needs.
Well, we're very fortunate today because joining us from the audience is that reporter that you just saw, news reporter Andrea McCarran. Andrea, you didn't just report this as another story on the news. You created a cautionary tale here. You created a story within the story that changes people's lives when they watch it.
Dessalines and I spoke. I took her with me on speaking engagements. We spoke to young people. She was brave enough to share that horrific video so other young people wouldn't have to live it.
You know, you said that afterwards, and you said at the very top of the show that you did this and things didn't change for you. The pain didn't ease. Things didn't change for you. And I want you to know why I think that's the case. And when I say that on the short list of diagnostic considerations that I would have would be PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, the symptoms of that are dreams and nightmares, intrusive recollections, reliving the trauma as illusions or kind of like hallucinations or dissociative flashbacks, intense psychological distress at exposure to certain cues, psychological reaction to cues, avoiding thoughts, feelings, or conversations, avoiding activities, places, or people, feeling of detachment, irritable or aggressive behavior. Joining us now is Dr. Frank Lawless. He's the president of our advisory council, and he is the author of the PTSD Breakthrough, the revolutionary science-based Compass Reset program. Frank, you and I have talked about this, and you believe that she may well be suffering from PTSD, correct?
Absolutely. She meets most of the symptomatology, and especially with regard to the kind of brain dynamics that are common with PTSD. I think she clearly is part of that picture.
Yeah, and in your defense, and I think you need one, with regard to some of the choices you're making, some of this is involuntary on your part, I believe. And I'll tell you guys why. This is the human brain, okay? And there is a part of the brain that's called the amygdala. And it is very important because it's kind of a recording device. And I'm gonna let Dr. Lawless talk us through this and show us what it is. All right, Frank, go ahead.
Okay, the amygdala is kind of like, as you said, more of a recording of the emotional component of memory. So if you have a memory and the amygdala doesn't record anything, then it basically just becomes a memory. But in certain kind of traumatic situations, it records that permanently until you can dissolve it and resolve it.
And so that trauma can be relived and relived and relived, both consciously and unconsciously, which can leave you emotionally distraught until something happens. And there are ways to deal with this, Dr. Lawless, correct?
Absolutely.
And nurturing and healing the brain. And a couple of examples of what you do are changes in nutrition and hyperbaric chamber. The second thing that's important is cleansing the brain of toxins and poisons. And you have to make reconnections and take control of the disoriented brain. And this is done with biofeedback. Do you get that there's brain involvement here that might be causing you to experience rage and make certain decisions that you might not otherwise be making? And you need help with all of this.
Yeah.
And do you think you do?
I think I need a little help.
A little help?
Yes. Because
okay.
I don't, like, I'm not crazy.
Nobody's saying that.
I'm a great mom.
Crazy wasn't on that list that I just went over.
I'm a absolutely awesome mom. And only thing I need help with is, like, anger and like forgetting that night, and then that's what's on my list.
What's on your list is get rid of the anger and not let that night keep coming back to haunt you.
Yes.
You really want to be free of that, right?
Yes.
All right. There's someone with a message for Desaline when we come back. People have been tweeting throughout the show, and one of our viewers, Dana Bardson, tweeted, "You survived the crash for a reason. You're not only responsible for your son's life, you need to live for those other girls as well." And we're going to flip Dana from Twitter up to Polly. Hi, tell me what you mean by what you were just saying to Desaline on your tweet.
Having been through trauma myself at 17, I know it's hard to get through, and I know that there's a difference between just surviving and then moving on to then live your life. And I don't think that you're living your life when you're medicating yourself with alcohol and substances.
You're exactly right. I mean, that's what I'm saying, and I appreciate you adding to it because you do relate to her. You've been through a terrible, terrible ordeal, and you need help to get back to being who you are. And I want to offer you that help. You know, not here, but back home. I want to arrange for you to have the treatments that we discussed here. And I think as you look at these things, as some of this fog clears in your brain, I think you will look at these things and go, wow, I can do a better job here. And I think you have a problem with rage, which you agree. I think you have a problem with alcohol, which I don't think you agree with. I think you just think you party sometimes. And if you need help with that, I will help you with that as well. You need help. I think you deserve help. Absolutely. I know your son deserves for you to get the help, and I'm offering it to you if you will take it.
Yes.
Will you take it? Deal? Okay, good. All right, I'd like to thank all of my guests today and all of the viewers that live tweeted. A special thanks to Dr. Frank Lawless. For more information on his book, PTSD Breakthrough, log on to drphil.com. And a special thanks to Andrea McCarran from our Washington, D.C. affiliate, WUSA. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So long. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Family.
Is that your truck that was pulling away?
No, it was not my truck that's just pulling away.
Your mother says it's your truck.
This is Alexandra's truck parked in front of the meth house.
I am very disgusted that Alexandra is involved with these people and that she just doesn't seem to care about anything but her next high.
You know Gina?
No.
Do you know Shane?
No.
Why did you tweet? Please keep my friends Gina and Shane in your prayers.
That's not related to them.
You know another Shane and Gina?
Yes, I do.
Now. Did you go 68 days without seeing your children?
I'm not going to answer that.
Well, it's a little hard to be self-righteous when you have 3 children and you have custody of none of them.
After 9 years,
I want you off the drugs.
It all comes down to this.
You need to understand if you're not going to do this, I am done with you. Done. Today, more of what may be my final conversation with Alexandra of the Dr. Phil family. Our recent conversations have left me feeling frustrated. She's not seeing her kids, she's not in school, and I believe her taking prescription pain meds now for years is what's contributing mightily to all of this chaos in her life. Here's what you may have missed last time.
She's just making some really bad choices.
It's a drug called Oxycontin, which was prescribed to her by a doctor when she got in a wreck with her mother's car and totaled it.
You're going to lose your children.
No, I'm not.
Nathan's father is going to come after him. Layla's father is going to come after her. They're coming after you. They're coming after your kids.
Tony and I found out that we're having a baby.
You don't have enough money. You don't have enough stability to handle 2 children. You're going to now divide what little money there is by 3. Have you remained 100% drug-free during this pregnancy, or have you had a few slips along the way?
No, I've been drug-free.
Alexandra.
There he is!
It's a boy! Are we going to test it for drugs?
She really does have to. Do I need to call security?
The baby was moved to a level 1 pediatric care hospital because he was, sadly, born addicted to drugs.
Today is a shelter hearing. It is a judge confirming that the new baby will be staying here with Marty and I. It's a done deal. Alexandra tested positive for drugs.
I have pain every day, which you have no idea how to deal with.
You think you're addicted to oxycodone?
I'm not going to answer that. This is what help me sleep, and this is for pain.
They gave you 2 bottles of that?
Yeah.
You have to get off of this medication. Why are you so resistant to that? If I set you up with one of the top specialists to evaluate your spine and figure out what's going on, will you embrace that? Will you do that?
Yes, I want to go.
We met with Alexandra, and she was on enough medications that would put both of us to sleep right now.
My gut feeling tells me that I think what we should do is have her go through inpatient detox.
I believe you are addicted. I believe you need to go into detox and rehab.
What Dr. Berkeley and I talked, the way that he describes it, I completely agree with. The way you describe it, I don't really.
We looked at the initial MRI scan. There's not something there that would cause an ongoing pain problem.
There should be really no reason for taking that high doses of pain medication. She needs detoxification.
I think that each doctor has their own opinion. I mean, that's the greatness of this whole medical world. Why you go to one doctor, you get a second opinion, you go get a third opinion.
And you know that's totally non-credible, right? I mean, it's really the only thing you can say right now. They have a treatment course for you. Do you want to do that?
No.
I am bringing you a way out of this. And if you say, not interested, then that speaks volumes to me.
Alexandra is allowing drug dealers to use her truck. I was shocked. I mean, I have a picture of her truck directly in front.
We are following my daughter's truck. Looked like some dirtbag was actually driving it. Everything just adds up to where, you know, she's really wrapped up in drugs, and we really need to get something done. Or, I hate to say this, you know, something awful could happen to her.
Aaron and Marty believe their daughter may have some connection to some people involved in a local drug bust. Now, they haven't seen her in like 68 days. And so Aaron finally decides to go in search of Alexandra. What she finds both surprises and scares her.
Alexandra's missing. I have no idea where she is. Haven't seen her for almost 2 months. I'm really worried.
I'm taking pictures. What I really want to do is be able to show DCF that Alexandra's truck is in front of this house that was just in the news 2 weeks ago.
The meth lab bust in St. Augustine ends with the arrest of 5 people after receiving multiple complaints of possible drug activity. Investigators say once they searched the house, they found marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and a large amount of prescription pills. 7 people were inside at the time of the search. 5 of those were arrested.
What I find to be really horrible is that it was busted as a meth lab. Meth is so dangerous. I am very disgusted that Alexandra is involved with these people, that her car is here, and that she just doesn't seem to care about anything but her next high.
Aaron is obviously worried about Alexandra. You all know Brandon. He was addicted to drugs and is now clean and helping others do the same. So we sent him to Alexandra's hometown to see what he could find out.
With Alex, you know, I've seen a few of her shows on TV, and immediately the way she comes off and avoids questions that Phil asks her concern me, because from what I've seen, she has a serious prescription drug problem. I can totally relate to what Alex is going through right now.
I'm not proud of that, Mom. I can't help it.
What really concerns me is the fact that she's got 3 kids now, and she just doesn't seem to care if they're in their life at all right now. And I can relate to that. So when I got real bad, I didn't care if my family was in my life at all. All I cared about was getting pills so I wasn't sick every day. To me, that's where Alex is at right now. She needs these medications just to function. Alexandra's truck's been spotted at this house, and we actually have a photo. So we don't know if Alexandra's actually buying drugs here, selling drugs here, or if she's letting somebody at the house use her truck. First raid was a suspected meth cooking house where they cook methamphetamines, and we actually have, you know, in the newspaper, one of the suspects picked up in the raid. His name is Gary, aka Shane. It says in the police report one of the defendants was found with Lexapro, 3 metal spoons containing suspected cocaine residue, 2 syringes, 1 Oxycontin, 30 milligram. From everything I've seen, her problem goes a lot deeper than just prescription pills that she's associating with these characters.
Now, earlier this year, Alex gave me her word that she would be open and honest with me. But before I could even ask her one question about the meth bust, Alexandra starts deflecting, laughing, and tries to deny knowing anything about the mugshots that I had right in front of her, right in my own hand. Watch her start spinning the situation and attempting damage control. Tell me why you're laughing.
Because, who's that?
Who's what?
Never mind.
No, what?
Never mind. Okay.
Ask me anything you want to ask me. I've got a whole notebook. I've got...
Yeah, who's that?
This guy?
Yeah, who's that?
He's a guy that There's an article here that says, police shut down Davis Shores Drug House, and these 5 people were arrested and charged with drug-related charges for what's referred to as a meth house here. Do you know her?
No.
You don't know her?
No.
Do you know him?
No.
You don't know him? You don't know Shane?
No.
Is that your truck?
Coming up.
Please keep my friends Gina and Shane in your prayers. They are facing trials and tribulations. That's your tweet?
Yeah, that's fine. But that's not related to them.
So that's not Shane and Gina?
No.
You know another Shane and Gina.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, a mom accused of extreme neglect.
Your daughter drank bleach from a sippy cup. She's had lice. She's had a book bag with maggots and mold.
I'm being the best mom that I can be.
Are her kids in danger?
Are you neglecting your children?
Purposely, no.
Is she a fit mother?
Do you have a prostitute babysitting your children?
No, I do not.
Oh, really?
You're in over your head. You know that, right?
Then on Monday, she wants her daughter to be a top model.
I make her do all of her chores in her heels.
Pushy moms.
This is her dream, but I'm motivating her.
You can't be serious.
That's Monday. We now return to the Dr. Phil family. Alexandra's cover-up.
Is that your truck?
No, it's not.
That's not your truck?
Nope.
Well, your mother says it's your truck.
I don't have this on my truck. That's not my truck.
You look out. You don't have what?
I don't have this thing, whatever this is, on my truck, and my ball hitch is black. And I have a silver toolbox.
Yeah.
But that's nice of her to think that.
No, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
This is a photo of Alexandra's truck parked in front of the meth house that was recently busted. This is her license plate number, which is clearly visible in the photograph. And here is Alexandra's registration, the tag number on the back of this truck, and the tag number for the registration match.
Please keep my friends Gina and Shane in your prayers. They are facing trials and tribulations. That's your tweet?
Yeah, that's fine. But that's not related to them.
So that's not Shane and Gina?
No.
You know another Shane and Gina?
Yes, I do.
So you don't know these two people?
No. Sorry.
So you're saying, and this was February 17th that you put this up. This was right after their first arrest. That's just a coincidence?
Obviously, because I don't know those people.
You don't know them?
Sorry.
We have people down there telling us you do know them.
Really?
Really?
Like who?
These are unsolicited letters, emails, and calls we're getting from people that know you.
Really? Like who? I want to know who.
That are concerned about you.
Let's see. I want to know who. Because if they're so concerned, then tell me to my face. Wow.
Take a look at this picture of someone driving Alexandra's truck. Now, the woman looks strikingly similar to the mugshot of this woman, Gina, who has been arrested twice in 2 months at the same meth house. Watch how Alexandra tries to deny even knowing this Gina. You told your mother that Gina was using your truck.
Not that Gina. I have no idea who that is.
Take a look at this tape and respond to this for me.
So where is your truck?
I'm letting somebody drive it that has a license.
Right.
They put gas in it.
Who's driving it?
My friend Gina.
Your friend Gina. You know if Gina has a wreck, you don't have
I already know, Mom. I know. Thank you for your concern, but I know.
Why are you letting your friend Gina drive it?
Because she has a license and she drives me around when I ask her to.
And if she has a wreck and hurts somebody, you know they're going to go after, right?
Was that your truck that was just pulling away?
No, it was not my truck that's just pulling away.
That wasn't your truck that was just driving
No,
off?
it was not my truck.
And that wasn't the Gina that you were talking about?
No, it's not the Gina that I'm talking about.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that.
And I really hope that you're going to get Anthony taken from my mom with that crap right there.
Well, you need to worry about you, not me.
Well, I don't want my son taken from my mom.
Who would care for him?
Well, Tony's mom would probably get him.
His mother?
Actually, I would love that. That would be great, because then I could get to see him.
Well, you could see him.
No.
Well, take a look at this and tell me where it's wrong, because I want you to straighten me out here.
Okay, so right now I
am standing in front of one of the hotel rooms that Alexandra stayed in for a couple of months. Now, please understand that Alexandra told me on many occasions during her stay here that she could not come see the children because she did not have the gas money to get where she needed to go to see her kids. And I can actually see the supervised visitation center where she is supposed to be having supervised visitations with her children. Literally 2 blocks in this direction. So when we talk about not enough gas money, how about you just get up off your butt and walk over? I had no idea that she was this close during that period of time. She missed countless visits with her kids. I'm really angry about it.
I would really like a copy of all this, please. Please give me a copy of all this.
Why would you like a copy of it?
Because my mom's going to lose Anthony. Because the judge specifically told her to keep her mouth shut or he would take the baby from her. She's not allowed to discuss anything that has to do with Anthony, me, the case, anything.
The gag order is a very convenient way for Alexandra to wiggle her way out of a situation where she's being pinned down on something. The gag order is in place to protect the child. We don't want him on television. It's not that she can't talk about it. She can talk about it.
Well, comment about not walking.
I wasn't staying there when I told her that. Actually, I was staying on the one on 16, the one way far away.
Well, you haven't seen the babies for 68 days.
Actually, I saw my son recently.
I know. You went and saw him Friday.
So.
Because you were coming here today and you've got a court hearing coming up, but you went 68 days before that without seeing him.
I had transportation.
68 days, Alex.
Do you know how many times I called? Do you know how many times my mom canceled?
I never canceled on Alexandra or Tony. I just need 24 hours notice. I am caring for 3 small children. Alexandra's 3 small children. And Alexandra did stay in a hotel within walking distance of the kids' visitation center. And when she was staying at the hotel that she mentioned on State Road 16, well, that one is just 6 miles away from the kids' visitation center. And Tony does drive.
Okay. Never mind.
Well, it's a little hard to be self-righteous and sanctimonious when you have 3 children, you have custody of none of them.
Mm-hmm. Today we're having a child support hearing with Alexandra and Chris, and we are heading down to the courthouse very shortly. I really will be surprised if Alexandra shows up today. Chris is definitely going to be at the courthouse. He already told me. It would be ideal if Chris and Alexandra were able to pay their child support. However, realistically, I just don't see that happening anytime soon. So, we just finished the hearing. Alexandra did not show up as expected. Chris was there. Chris was very nervous, but I think that he has good intentions, that he does want to pay child support. He just hasn't been able to. Marty and I really need to get our own attorney because the situation with especially Anthony is very precarious. We really want to ensure that that child has the best life possible. And at this point, I don't see any changes forthcoming with Alexandra or Tony. I really need a good voice in there because I am not allowed to speak in the courtroom without an attorney. I need to make sure that Marty and I get custody of these children because Alexandra is not in a position to be caring for these children right now. And as much as she wants to try and make me look like I'm the bad guy, I'm not the bad guy. And neither is her dad. Yeah. We're the good guys. I have to be honest with you and tell you that I really struggled with why Alexandra wants her kids so bad. And Dr. Phil said the reason Alexandra wants these kids is because she wants to hurt me. I don't understand why she wants to do that, but it makes sense because she doesn't see her children, she doesn't visit them, she doesn't call them, and yet she wants to get custody of them. She doesn't pay any child support for them. She's barely hanging on to her life herself. I mean, she's living in a squalor living condition. She was homeless for a period of time. She's addicted to several substances. It's just not a good situation all around for those kids.
But up next, I confront Alexandra on why she would let 68 days go by. 68 days without seeing any of her 3 children.
Coming up,
I want you off of drugs. I have people in your world that I don't know telling us that you're fooling with crystal meth, that you're hanging with bad people, and you think I'm fixated on that.
We don't talk about anything else.
No, we don't. That's the elephant in the room right there.
All this May.
I am so angry I can't see straight. I told you I hated you, and I do hate you. Dr. Phil, I know I'm failing. It can't continue the way that it is. I don't see that this baby gets any discipline. The baby is wild. The baby is 16 months.
Gina is so determined to make her 16-year-old daughter a model that she has her doing chores in high heels.
This is her dream, but I'm motivating her.
You can't be serious. You bullied your cousin with Down syndrome and kicked her in the back?
She is disgusting. Have you seen her?
And for the first time ever on Dr. Phil.
The triple intervention on three brothers.
I understand that all you want to do is get out of this situation, but we're here to help.
I accept it.
I don't want you in my life anymore.
Doesn't the legacy of anger have to stop?
Now, in talking to you, I realize I need to be a hero for my daughter.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
All this May on Dr. Phil. We now return to the Dr. Phil family. Alexandra's cover-up.
Alexandra does not see her life as a problem. She can do whatever she wants. She doesn't have any responsibilities whatsoever in her life right now. If she gets sober, she gets detoxed, Alexandra's going to have responsibility.
A fact is a fact. For whatever reason or justification, did you go 68 days without seeing your children?
I'm not going to answer that because it's self-incriminating and I still have an open case. So.
Okay, well, that's the answer.
Okay.
This is an ugly truth, right? It doesn't seem to me that you're making an effort.
Okay.
At this point, you're not going to school. You're continuing to see your doctor down there. You're refusing the help that these guys are offering you. And you're not seeing your children on a regular basis. You're living in Tony's mother's rental property.
What's wrong with that?
So that's pretty much this. This is a synopsis.
I don't understand that, but what part of that, why is that bad? That's a house. Tony living in Tony's mom's rental property.
I'm just summarizing what is. I'm not saying it's good or bad.
It's better than a hotel.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
I don't understand, like, what.
Is it a place that you could have the children?
Yes, absolutely. It's already been approved.
Well, then that's good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. What would you like to talk about?
I told you I wanted help to go to school.
What does that mean? You said you were going to school before. You had to get out of here on time to get there. You didn't do it. Why aren't you in school?
Because I don't have transportation. Because I cannot drive my truck.
Alexandra, you can't drive the truck because you got tickets and you didn't
You're right.
pay them.
It's my fault.
You don't have insurance.
You're right.
Why is that my problem?
It's not your problem. You asked me what I wanted help with, and I told you.
Well, what kind of help? What are you saying?
Could you find me a job? Help me find a job?
How would you get to work?
I'd figure it out.
Alexandra, I have a significant amount of resources, help, and support that I can bring to bear with you. What are you going to do for me? I want you off of drugs. I have people in your world that I don't know telling us that you're fooling with crystal meth, that you're hanging with bad people, that you're not seeing your kids, all of these things are happening, and I will help you when you get yourself clean.
Okay.
Last time I interviewed you, I counted 30 times that you rolled your eyes like, oh, brother. Come on. At some point, you got to help yourself. And I say, you've got a doctor down there saying, yes, here, take these pills. You should have them. Say, well, have him consult with these doctors. No, don't want him talking to them. I'll bet you don't. Because if he knew legitimate doctors were asking questions, he would have to answer them, and he might change his mind. You're wanting to protect all of that, and that's not healthy, Alexandra. I've been doing this a long time.
Okay.
And you think I'm fixated on that, don't you?
We don't talk about anything else.
No, we don't. That's the elephant in the room right there.
Coming up.
You think I am some sort of drug addict?
What Erin finds when she goes to see where Alexandra is living.
Sitting across the street, watching my house for about an hour is pretty irritating.
We now return to the Dr. Phil family. Alexandra's cover-up.
Alexandra does not see her life as a problem.
At this point, I'm kind of used to her just blowing me off and ignoring me. Obviously, that's her way of dealing. It's like I don't even want to call her mom anymore. I appreciate her taking care of my kids, but, you know, it's like, that's all. And I know that's a lot, and don't get me wrong, but it's like I still need her to be my mom, too. It would be nice to be welcomed in my mom and dad's home and be a part of their family. I mean, they've kind of just completely cut me out.
Am I not allowed to have any privacy? Really? Whew.
Alex, if you don't want it out, don't put it in the public domain.
Okay.
Well, I mean, what part of that do you not understand? What do you not get that?
No, I
Did somebody
get
not
that.
tell you how that works?
I understand that. Trust me, I do. But what does that have to do with anything?
Alexandra Twittered that her family cut her off because we're not giving her cash. Did Marty and I cut off Alexandra? No, we haven't cut her off. She's welcome to anything that we have. The one thing we're not going to do, we're not giving her cash.
Why did you tweet that?
Because that's how I felt.
Well, we're here talking about your feelings.
No, we're here talking about how you think I am some sort of drug addict. So we always talk about.
Because that's how I always feel.
Well,
I'm honest. You know that. That's what I always talk about. So you knew what we were going to talk about when you came here, didn't you? Because isn't that what we always talk about? You say every time, I'm obsessed with that. That's what I always talk about.
Yes.
So why would you be surprised that that's what we're talking about today?
because I thought maybe by some miracle we would talk about something else.
The miracle would be you getting off drugs.
Right, because that's what you think and that's what two doctors think. But if you knew, like if we really, like if I was able to share things openly without all this, never mind.
Is there something you want to tell me with the cameras off?
No.
Because I'll turn them off. You say if it wasn't for all this, I'll turn them off. We can send our mics out of the room. You can tell me whatever you want to tell me.
No, it's okay. Really.
Well, you said you did.
It's okay.
How old are you now?
23.
How was your birthday?
It's okay.
What did your mom give you for your birthday?
She couldn't even give it to me. She had to leave it in my yard.
We're getting ready to go by Alexandra's house now. And I made up a little gift bag for her. Her birthday's tomorrow. There she goes. My daughter is 100 feet in front of me, and I can't give her a hug. Alexandra is obviously watching a little boy at this house, babysitting, I guess, and it's heartbreaking. She's watching somebody else's child and doesn't even see her own. I really do need to not have contact with her, but I want to have contact with her. She'll think this is stupid. I put in a book and some pictures and a really nice card. There we go. We can go now.
For my birthday, my mom brought me a bag, and inside of it was pictures of my kids and a letter that told me why she was angry at me.
My dearest Alexandra, I love you very, very much. I want to say that to you 100 times a day. But I don't, because I'm afraid that all you will hear is me criticizing you or accusing you or pushing you away. You are my very precious princess, my wonderful and magnificent gift from God. I wish I could do something to make your life perfect and right, but let there be no mistake. These babies, they need their mother. Right now, I think you are making some dangerous and terrible choices in your life. I do not think that you are able to make clear decisions because of your addiction, and the results are bordering on catastrophic. It seems like the whole world is against you. But know this, I am not. I will forever have hope for you, and I will always love you, Alexandra, my precious daughter. I am waiting for you to come out of the bushes, my angel. Just come home to us, and I will pick you up, and I will dry your tears and help you carry you to a place you can call home. I love you so much, Alexandra. Mom.
When I read the letter my mom wrote me, I just kind of felt aggravated and like, wow, that's the best you can do. I felt annoyed because I know they did like a whole bunch of stuff for my sister for her birthday, and my mom didn't even have my kids call me and wish me happy birthday, or my dad didn't even call me and tell me happy birthday, or, you know, send me a text message or anything. My dad didn't even sign the damn card himself. My mom did.
That offended you?
Yeah, sitting across the street watching my house for about an hour is pretty irritating, and then she can't even knock on my front door.
Well, that's how she felt about you not walking to see the kids.
Okay. How?
Do you think I want you to be healthy and happy?
I know you do.
You just disagree with my way of getting there.
Yes, I do.
Why don't you try it, just on a fluke?
Coming up.
I don't want to come to your funeral. But you need to understand, so we're very clear. If you're not going to do this, I am done with you. Done.
We now return to the Dr. Phil family. Alexandra's cover-up.
Do you think I want you to be healthy and happy?
I know you do.
You just disagree with my way of getting there.
Yes, I do.
Why don't you try it, just on a fluke? Because if I put you in a rehab facility somewhere, I guarantee you it would be the nicest place you've stayed in years.
Okay.
I'm talking beachfront, beautiful facility. What else you got to do? Why don't you call my bluff and prove me I'm wrong? I'll send you and Tony both. Not interested? Not interested for him?
I don't know what he wants. I'd have to talk to him.
What do you want for him?
I think we're doing really well, actually. We've been doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're getting together.
Is he treating you well?
Yes, he is. He was the only one to do anything for me for my birthday. Him and his mom, so.
Well, I'm glad they're treating you well. Did your kids call you?
Nope.
Alexandra is upset because her children didn't call her on her birthday. And that actually is not true. Nathan and Layla did call her and sing happy birthday to her voice message system. I just find it interesting that she doesn't remember.
So when you leave here and go home, what are you going to do? Are you applying for jobs or anything? Is there anything you're doing?
I told you I'm trying to figure out how to get my stuff together so I can get my kids back.
Well, I'm not going to bother you anymore, which is probably good news to you. I'll miss you. And you'll miss your life. I don't want to come to your funeral.
You won't.
I want to come to your kids' graduations. I want you to be happy and healthy and treated the way you deserve to be treated. If you get to the point that you're interested in the help that I'm offering you, for you or for Tony, either one, I'm here for you and I'll make that available to you. That's no trivial offer. Those programs cost about $50,000 to do. And I'm offering to do it for you and for Tony, and to do it privately and away from here. So you think about it. You've made some bad choices, but choices have a beginning and an end. When you stop making the bad choice and you start making a different one, you get a different result in your life. But you need to understand, so we're very clear. I love you. I love your kids. But if you're not going to do this, I am done with you. Done. Right. Fair enough.
Thank you.
I wish you the best.
You too.
I hope my phone rings at some time and you say, I want to get my life together. Look, I've been very committed to this. I have worked very hard. I have been passionate. I have thrown myself into it, and I have bitten the end off of my tongue till I have almost nothing left. Because I had one goal in mind, and that is to get this young woman into rehab. Well, until she decides to accept that offer for rehab, we are done. Done. D-O-N-E, done. We'll be right back.
Coming up, what happened to Alex just days after her meeting with Dr. Phil?
It is completely amazing to me that my daughter doesn't care about the well-being of her child or her other two children. She's more concerned about a vendetta that she has with me.
We now return to the Dr. Phil family, Alexandra's cover-up.
Now that my work with Alexandra is on hold until she decides to go to rehab, my focus turns to Aaron and Marty's fight for custody. Our cameras followed as they attended their first meeting with their new attorney, the best of the best in family law, Jim Werder.
Marty and I are meeting with a lawyer today. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is having a voice in the courtroom.
Why don't you come on into the conference room and we'll sit down and talk for a while.
Thank you.
The hurdle is that a case like this, termination of parental rights, requires clear and convincing evidence. Okay? If someone's arrested for a felony, he's going to go to jail for 2 years. That's pretty good. If there's abuse or abandonment over a certain point of time, you got grounds there.
I mean, isn't my grandson born?
That in itself, no. Okay? I mean, it shows she has a problem at that time. But then as progress moves on, you have to have a continuing source of behavior. It sounds like you do, but I'm looking for a little bit more. Here's what I want to do at this point. Since Family Services does have an open case that's scheduled for hearing on April 5th, I'd just like to go into court and sit in on the case and see what the results are, see what the judge's feelings are on the case, and then we can go from there.
Okay. Jim, I really appreciate it. You were a big help. You really gave us some information that I didn't know.
It was a good meeting. Thank you.
I really like Jim a lot. He's very straightforward. He doesn't try to make something out of nothing. He's like, here's what you have, here's what you can work with, and this is the way it's going to go, and if you don't do this, then it's going to go this way. So I thought that was really good. So we're about to go to the hearing with Alexandra, and I'm really excited because I actually have an attorney that will kind of have my back because he's going to represent my side of things. He's going to be my voice for my grandson and for me. I'm at the courthouse. We just finished the hearing with Alexandra. The state presented their case, letting the judge know that Alexandra has done nothing so far to comply with any of the case plan to reunify with her child. And Alexandra, of course, had excuses for why she has not. Alexandra was not able to disclose what her excuses were. She just said she wasn't able to make it. And the judge pretty much let her know. Well, he did let her know. You either get there and you do your work and you see your kids, or we're just going to end this. Alexandra would not talk to me. She wouldn't even make eye contact with me. I will say that once she saw I had an attorney, she rolled her eyes and just acted like, oh, whatever. It is completely amazing to me that my daughter doesn't care about the well-being of her child or her other two children. She's more concerned about a vendetta that she has with me. Now, that's really messed up thinking.
I think today's a good start. I think the other side was a little shocked that all of a sudden you have counsel, so that put them on guard. And hopefully, because the ultimate goal is the best interest in the minor child.
Absolutely.
And just about equally so, reclaiming your daughter, getting her to get on the right road and to grow up and get over her problems and have a successful adulthood.
It's frustrating because I want my daughter to be a parent. I know she can be, but at this point in her life, she is not sober and she cannot do that.
Erin just received some devastating news. Doctors believed her younger sister Erica only had days to live. Erin rushed to Los Angeles to be by her sister's side.
I am here in LA to see my sister Erica. Alcoholism is killing her. She is in hospice care in her apartment. Her liver has completely stopped functioning, and she is literally on her deathbed. I really wanted Alexandra to come with me to see Erica. I wanted her to see pretty much what she's going to look like in 15 years if she does not get help with her addiction. And I said, I want you to come to LA with me. And she said, no, I'm not. And she pretty much slammed the door in my face. Been here about 24 hours, and Erica has, quietly slipped into a coma. Every day she fades a little bit more.
7 years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting Erica when she appeared on the show to work on her relationship with Aaron. What is it you want her to know?
That I'm really proud of you, Erica. You're beautiful and you're smart and you're successful, and I love you very much. I really do.
Is it nice to hear that from your big sister?
It's probably one of the best things I've ever heard in my life.
Erica died from complications of alcoholism, and it was horrible. It was a very horrible, tragic death. She's just 39 years old. She'll never see her 40th birthday. My sister Erica, she was funny, she was caring, she was loving, she was so pretty and intelligent. Oh my gosh. My little sister, I love you, baby. I miss you so much.
Alexandra, if you're listening, the ball's in your court. I hope to hear from you soon, but I only want to hear one thing. Dr. Phil, I'm ready. Go to drphil.com. If you'd like to comment on the Dr. Phil Family Series, you can send me an email or you can go to my Facebook page. I look forward to your comments. I look forward to your questions. We'll see you next time.
There was a drug bust, I guess, in your town?
I don't want to talk about that. I really don't.
Okay. So. Do you want to talk to me? I ask you about why you're so uncomfortable about the tweet that had Sheena and Shane mentioned?
I don't want to talk about that either. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's not my business. So.
Can you tell me why you don't?
No. I'd really rather not.
Just so it's on record, like why you don't want to talk about it?
Because it has nothing to do with my recovery or anything like that, or anything that has to do with me. That's their business. That's those people. So.
Why are you so resistant? When he's talking to you, sometimes you're rolling your eyes.
Because I feel like I'm being attacked. And when everybody feels like they're being attacked, they're going to go into defense mode. I roll my eyes or, scrunch my shoulders, whatever you want to call it. I feel like I'm being put into a corner and they're poking sticks at a wild animal. So.
Today on Dr. Phil.
My mom drinks every day, all day.
Are you drunk now?
No, I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk now.
They're fed up with her games.
You told me to lie to a doctor to get you drugs.
True or false?
True.
Tired of her excuses.
Do you drive impaired?
Very seldom.
Have you driven with the children in the car? Now, don't put your head down. Stay with me here.
Her family wants her gone.
You resent this woman. Yes. You said she's like a cockroach. You just can't kill her.
But are they ready?
You know she's an alcoholic, right?
To share the blame.
So when she comes out of rehab and starts drinking, where's she get it? Me. You have no idea how much I want to slap you right now. Let's do it.
Good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Well, there is no such thing as the perfect family. But what on earth would cause a husband and 3 daughters to say these unbelievably harsh words about the matriarch of their family?
She's more like a burden than a partner. It almost would be a relief if she did pass away.
If she was out of our lives, I do feel like everything would be a lot easier.
When I was younger, I used to say that. I wanted her to die. I just wanted her to go away. I don't want her around me or my family anymore.
I don't respect my mother at all. I do definitely resent her.
So why? I mean, you might understand one feeling that way, but why would 1, 2, 3, 4 feel the same way? What could cause so much venom and hatred? Well, the mother of this family, a suburban housewife, is an admitted alcoholic who her daughters all say is destroying their father and their entire family. At this point, they all say that life would be better if their mom would just disappear forever.
My mom's an alcoholic, and it's really gotten out of hand. My mom drinks every day, all day.
My mom's drinking has spiraled so far out of control, I'm not sure that I can even have a relationship with her anymore.
I feel disgusted by my mother. I do not speak to my mother anymore.
The first time I really noticed that my mom was drinking was when I was 7 years old. My mom was laying on the floor.
My mother ended up getting drunk and collapsing, passing out, and throwing up. I remember Autumn was crying, so my dad took us out. I don't think that's something children should have to see.
I would definitely classify my mom as a hostile or mean drunk. She becomes a completely different person when she's drinking. My mom chased after me and threatened to burn my face on the stove. A lot of times I'll come in when she's supposedly cooking dinner. I'll end up finding beer cans in one of the cupboards in the kitchen.
My mom likes to lock herself in the bathroom to drink. There's a sports drink bottle here, which is not the right color or flavor, so I know she's obviously put something in here. Vodka.
My mom's been trying to hide her drinking from me and my sisters.
She's drinking more and more lately, and she's been making less promises to get better. I'm sick of listening to her cry. She does this all the time. She makes herself the victim by doing that.
I'm mad because I did this to them. I'm mad because I took from them what I did.
And how many times have we heard this speech, Mom? It might be powerful to the people that are watching this, but to us it means nothing. These are just crocodile tears.
My mother's drinking has gone so far that my sisters want to physically hurt her. I witnessed Autumn choke my mother, and Riley punched my mother.
I've given her a lot of chances. At a certain point, you can't give anyone any more of yourself. You can't light yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. I think that she could possibly kill herself. She's going down a very dark road.
Well, Scott agrees with his little girls and says his wife Linda has become a burden. And he frankly says she's just a cross to bear.
My wife's an alcoholic. I feel more like her caretaker than her husband. Linda's drinking is destroying my family.
You're snoring, and I can tell.
Yeah, your voice does sound a little...
My teeth. It's not your teeth, Mother, because you only do it when you're drunk.
She's not a fun drunk. She's not a happy drunk. She's an angry drunk.
Just shut your hole.
She is very combative. Linda will say to me, well, now you just pissed me off. I wasn't going to drink today, but now I'm going to, and it's your fault. My wife is not a role model to my daughters at all. She's a non-functioning person. She's more like their roommate that'll occasionally make them something to eat.
Drinking my little drink and making it.
The marriage is in a complete shambles. We're roommates that don't like each other.
Thank you, idiot.
She's made me feel worthless.
You do nothing and you never have.
When she's verbally abusive, I just tell her, look, you're being a relentless... I'm trying to help you and you're telling me I'm stupid. One time, I found her on top of our daughter's bunk bed. I shook her, she was unresponsive. I slapped her in the face. She woke up and said, why are you abusing me? At this point in our marriage, she's my cross to bear.
You resent this woman.
Yes.
You want her gone. You want her out of your life. You want her out of your children's lives.
Yes.
You want this woman gone.
Yes.
You want her gone.
Absolutely.
You want her gone.
Yep.
But she just hangs in there. You said
Right.
she's like a cockroach. You just can't kill it.
It's you feel trapped. You know, you want it to resolve, but it never does, and then you're just stuck. And every day you think it's going to get better, and it never does. It gets worse.
And you think it's never going to get better?
At this point, I don't think she'll ever get better. She's really stopped making promises, and she couldn't keep the promises to begin with.
So what do you say to yourself about this?
I think to myself that I hate my mother and that as soon as I'm old enough to get out of the house once I'm 18, I don't want to see her anymore.
You've gotten combative with her.
Yes.
You've punched her out.
Yes.
Why?
Because she pushes it to a point where I will try to leave the situation and she won't let me leave, and I feel like it's the only way out.
You've tried to get help along the way, but it's gotten to the point, you talked about there was a time when she actually was naked, had a seizure, fell out on the floor, arms and legs shaking, moving. You just stepped over her and laughed, walked away. Ugly, but true, right?
Yeah, that's the truth. I guess it's embarrassing to say out loud that I laugh at it, but I don't know what else to do.
To you sisters, what do you worry most about what this is doing to the baby of the family?
My mom doesn't pay attention to her, and she's a 16-year-old girl and needs her mother. And she just doesn't get what she needs from a mom.
I have problems with my self-esteem because of the way my mom's treated me, and I kind of question my self-worth too.
And what do you say? How do you question yourself?
Because I think that if someone like my mother can't even put the effort in to love me and pay attention to me, then no one else out there will. So it's like I'm not really worth anything if my mom can't even find it in her to love me.
Well, Linda's here. And she says, and I quote, "Beer is more important than my daughters. Beer is more important than my husband." Take a look.
I am absolutely, without a doubt, an alcoholic. I drink way too much. If there is a beer left over on my nightstand or on Scott's nightstand, I will pick it up during the night and drink it. If it's still there in the morning, I'll finish it. I can easily drink 9 24-ounce beers. That would be like drinking 18 beers for a regular human being. I have driven after I've been drinking with the kids in the car. I have driven quite buzzed, but who's to say what is and what is unless you're actually tested, right? There are times when I do choose beer over them.
No, you're being an angry drunk and you need to sit down and shut up right now.
The kids yell at me. I know what I'm doing is wrong, and they're right, and I'm wrong. They have told me if you left, nobody would care. If you died, it wouldn't matter. It'd make things just easier on everybody else. I've not been a great mother. I've never abused them, and I have not put them in harm's way. I've been in hospital for pancreatitis 3 to 4 times. I continue to drink even though I know it can kill me. It's what I use to get through the day when it gets bad, bad, bad. And most of the time lately, it's been bad, bad, bad. Beer is my friend right now. It's what I've got.
Well, it may have been bad, 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 but it's about to change, change, change. We're going to meet this mother when we come back. Are you drunk now?
I was desperately not going to even drink last night, but I opened a beer, but then I was so exhausted from the week, I didn't drink it. But, of course, this morning it was on the nightstand, so I drank it.
I enable Linda's drinking completely. I'm the one that actually buys 90% of it, because if I don't, she's just gonna sit here and verbally torture me until I do. Grabbed one of these, which she had me buy this morning, took it back to the bedroom.
Scott is 100% an enabler. I will say to Scott, let's stop. This is going to kill me. It's going to kill you. If Scott really didn't want me to drink, he wouldn't bring it home.
Well, Linda's here, so Linda, come on out and join us now. Linda, I'm Dr. Phil. All right. Right here, if you would. Linda, what's your understanding about why we're here today?
I know that I drink too much. I know I'm an alcoholic. And I know I have other issues too that I would like to figure out, and I think we would all like to figure out what makes me not stop. Because I've had enough scares that I should have stopped by now.
They very much are beyond sick of you and what you're doing. They are using words like hate, resent, die, go away. I mean, these girls are telling me they are fed up, over the top with you and your conduct. Do they have a right to be?
100%. And they have every right. I've hurt them deeply.
But in talking to you, you have blamed your family. You said, for example, and I quote, if Scott didn't bring beer into the house, I wouldn't drink it. So he's the problem. We just need to get your courier fired. Just fire your courier, and then you'd be okay. That's what you're telling us. I just drink because he brings it into the house.
That's how it is now, but if you fired him, I'm sure I would.
You said if I ask Scott to get me beer, he will. Scott causes me to be angry, then I go drink. When my daughters scream at me, they push me to drink. My daughters contribute to my drinking. My family makes me feel all alone. Becoming a housewife, being bored all day, nothing else to do. So you are so bored that you're saying you just pickle your brain.
Yeah, I guess I have.
You always start out by saying that we don't contribute or that you don't blame us, and yet you go right ahead to blame us.
Well, that's always the hardest thing with Linda is what she says and what she does are two completely different things. She says she loves us. She says we're more important than anything. She'd do anything for us. And I said, okay, then quit drinking. And that doesn't happen.
Are you drunk now?
No, I'm not drunk now, no, but yes, I did.
Drank today, so yes.
I did. I did. They asked me, did you drink last night? And I said, I was desperately not going to even drink last night, but I opened a beer, but then I was so exhausted from the week, I didn't drink it. But, of course, this morning it was on the nightstand, so I drank it.
So you'll wake up first thing in the morning, and if there's four or five cans of beer partially open, got some in it, you'll drain them, right?
Yes.
If it's one of those days, yeah. And when I say one of those days, some very, very seldom, but there are days when I won't do it. But if it's there, yes, I absolutely will.
Are you on drugs today?
Prescription drugs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you Dr. Hop?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Do I? I've gone to the same doctors for...
You quit going to your psychiatrist because he didn't want to give you Xanax anymore.
I've gone to him because I don't like him.
And you told me to tell my psychiatrist to put me on Xanax so that you could take it.
True or false?
True.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom.
Not to overly take it, but just I was scared he was going to take it away from me completely.
Not to overly take it.
No. Okay. He was going to take me off of it, and it scares me to death to live without it because of my anxiety disorder.
You told me to lie to a doctor to get you drugs.
Which is a crime, and you're still trying to justify it. You're saying not to overtake it, but if your doctor says you shouldn't be taking it, any amount is overtaking it.
You're right. I did do all that.
You take Xanax, right?
Yes.
You take Trazodone.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes.
You use fentanyl patches?
Nah. She's been using those for a year, but before that she was on Vicodin and she was on Percocet.
On morphine.
On morphine.
Yeah, they changed it to the fentanyl.
And you understand that fentanyl is similar to morphine in how it works, but it's 100 times more potent.
I didn't realize it was that much, but okay, I believe you if you're telling your doctor I'm not.
She doesn't care. It's just to make her feel better, so why would she care?
Okay, this gentleman right down here is Dr. Charles Sophie. Let's just talk about the interaction between the alcohol and the drugs she's taking. What's the interactive effect here, doctor?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say, but you can tell she's never sober. Every day you've got something in your system. So you're starting with a baseline of drugs and alcohol. You're adding one on top of another. You're layering it. They're bad alone. Together, it's a suicide mission. You're going to shut off your brain. You're not going to breathe. You're going to go into a coma and you're going to die. Whether you want to or not, it's going to happen.
Okay, so if somebody drinks to the level of, alcohol toxicity, if it gets to the point that they have alcohol poison or alcohol toxicity, it can shut down their respiratory systems, correct?
Correct.
What's the chance of that happening if you're pouring that alcohol on top of Xanax and fentanyl?
It is gas on a fire.
She's basically playing Russian roulette here.
Absolutely.
Alcohol and drugs mixed together.
It's suicide.
You said, I do not abuse my children and I do not put them in harm's way. Now, don't put your head down.
Well, I'm a piece of work. But...
You made a statement that, above all else, stood out to me. You said, I'm an alcoholic. I agree, I drink. But I do not abuse my children, and I do not put them in harm's way. That's where you'll draw the line in the sand.
Yeah.
Wow. I made a list.
I understand when I said that it would...
I made a list.
I understand what it...
Here's the list that I made of things that either you or your husband or your daughters have said. Do you abuse your children? Well, you threaten Autumn with physical violence, emotional warfare with her, make negative comments about your dad, you're drunk around your grandson, you supervise your kids when you're drinking, you call them every name in the book. True? True?
Some of that.
You've called this precious child a whore and a slut.
Have I said that to her?
Yes, Mom. Maybe you
Not when I was there.
She said it multiple times.
I've heard both of them say that, and I have not said that to you.
Yeah.
Well,
I said...
I just wrote the... Are you looking at this? You said, I don't abuse him and I don't put him in harm's way. This is a little overwhelming. Let me just organize this for you. So, with regard to the family, these are just the things I've concluded from the history. Now, don't put your head down. Stay with me here. Stay with me here. With the family, what I think's abusive, you role model drinking all day, every day. You're supervising kids when you're drinking. You're passed out on the floor with vomit. You're slurring your speech, stumbling, having hallucinations. You're role modeling criminal behavior because you're driving drunk. You are driving Riley and Autumn around while you're drunk. You're role modeling abusive behavior by abusing Scott, calling him every name in the book. You're fighting, yelling, screaming around the house topless. Physical abuse with Scott, hitting and slapping him. Emotional warfare, threatening divorce. Degrading comments about dad to your children and talking about your sex life, and says a younger man will take care of you. So is that abusive? Drunken logic. You make up random punishments and chores. You threaten violence if they don't listen to you. You brought strangers into the home, current and former heroin addicts, a 20-year-old male in the house smoking pot.
Well, I'm a piece of work, aren't I?
With Autumn, you threaten her with physical violence. You will burn her face on the stove. You've grabbed her by the arm, dug your nails into her arms, degrading comments about her body, called her a skeleton, and made comments about her being a hunchback because she has scoliosis.
Okay.
That's more because of her posture, but that's all I'm going to say
I grew up with a
Are you me, Dad?
No.
Are you kidding me? Really? Really? That's where you want to jump in.
No, just...
Because my question for you is, you said this has been going on for 10 years. What the hell are you thinking? Seriously? Okay. I'm just talking about your statement that I don't abuse my children and I don't put them in harm's way.
It's a whole different thing to see it like that. It's a completely whole different thing.
Is it kind
horrible?
Kind of sobering?
Is it kind of hideous and horrible? Yeah.
Can't change what you don't acknowledge. Linda says she's not the only drunk in their home. She says Scott is a raging alcoholic, and she's tired of her daughters accepting their dad's outrageous drunken behavior and not hers. So maybe this plot thickens. I don't know. We'll be right back.
I believe Scott is an alcoholic.
She wants me to say I'm an alcoholic, I guess.
I guess?
I would consider my dad a functioning alcoholic.
Linda says she's not the only parent that should be getting thrown under the bus for excessive drinking. She says her husband is just as much of an alcoholic as she is, but because he's Disneyland dad and the favorite parent, he gets a pass.
Lately, I've been drinking a lot more. That's become my tool for dealing with all the stress.
I believe Scott is an alcoholic. He can have as many of those big beers as I do, sometimes more. You drink as much as I do.
She wants me to say I'm an alcoholic, I guess.
I guess?
Even though he does drink too much, it doesn't get in the way of his life or his relationship with his family.
I would consider my dad a functioning alcoholic.
Scott is definitely passed out on the couch, and the girls will carry him into bed. Riley and Autumn accept Scott's drinking, but not mine.
When my dad drinks, he doesn't hurt the whole family. He doesn't cause these arguments. He has control over it. When she drinks, it's all the time, and she just ends up hurting everyone around her.
If he wants to relax with a couple beers at the end of the night, I don't have a problem with that.
If I feel like I had a real partner and we had a healthy marriage, I would not rely on alcohol anywhere near as much as I do.
You were gonna just try to make me look like the only one.
I'm not.
He's the sole provider of the family. I'm probably gonna be dead in 2 years anyway. If he dies, what have they got?
Well, Scott, what do you say? You got a problem with alcohol?
Well, if you have to, what's the old saying? If you have to ask yourself that question, the answer is probably yes. I drink too much, and the thought of never getting to enjoy a beer again scares me. So, yes. The thing that she said that I took from that is that I do drink as much as her, but I have 100 pounds on her.
Well, she drinks 18 beers a day.
Yeah.
And you drink as much as she does?
Not every day.
We're talking 18 beers a day. 234 ounces a day is what it calculates to. And so I calculated, with Dr. Sophie's help, the blood alcohol level that she would be running at when she does that much drinking. And with her weight and that much beer, she would be running between 0.30 and 0.35 blood alcohol content. At 0.35, you are at risk for the onset of coma, possible death from respiratory arrest. It's the level of surgical anesthesia. Do you have hallucinations? Do you see your dead father?
You have, yes.
I did one time.
I ask you why you've allowed this to go on for 10 years. Have you been drunk for 10 years?
No.
We've been drinking together since the day we met.
No, his is nowhere near as bad
But
as yours.
we have been drinking together
His
since the
just
day we met.
got bad
gotten bad
recently.
because of you.
Yeah.
Before we did our interview with her, where we taped with her interview, did you take her out for a drink?
Yes. I wanted to do everything I could to make sure.
Who are you people? What are you? Come on, Scott, you're a bright guy. You know she's an alcoholic, right?
Yes.
Did she wake up a few days ago and you had left her a sandwich and a beer next to her?
Yes. Yes.
Out the bedroom door.
You couldn't find a loaded gun? What the hell? Why would you do that?
He wanted her to come to the show. Honestly.
It's like a little kid, you have to bribe them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What
the hell is wrong
What
with
do y'all
that?
think about this? Are you not just outraged?
We're used to it. She's used to it, which is sad. It's really sad.
So there's not a time in your day where you wake up and go outside and go out of your room and the house is all clean and bright and your mom's up and sober and everything's happy and good. That just doesn't happen.
No, that's never happened.
That just never happened in your life. You don't get to do
Never
that.
happened that I remember. Maybe when I was like a baby, but not in the past 10 years.
Or when you guys were little. That
when
was
we
the
were
only time
babies?
I
Yeah, when we
actually
were
held
little.
myself together. I guess it was before everything went bad, and I did do everything for them.
Nobody seems
because
to remember that though. Like,
but they say
do you
they
consider
don't.
yourself high right now?
No, I feel normal right now. That's just
her regular
it's
high.
Because
yes, she's
But
on
how
fire.
much? How much have you had to drink today? No kidding.
no kidding. I had the leftover from the one that I opened last night,
Uh-huh.
and then I opened another one this morning, and I didn't finish it. We actually left here in the hotel, believe it or not, which is a miracle for us.
Are you on a fentanyl patch?
It's on always.
You're always on.
It's something.
So you're
it's
always
something,
on morphine. Yeah.
something you wear all the time.
Oh.
It's not funny.
Do you miss having a mother?
I don't really remember her being that much of a mother, but there has been times when she's sober for maybe a month at a time, and it is nicer. It's nice to know that there's someone that you can actually count on that will care about you, so I do miss that.
That kills me. I don't know what to do.
Well, it doesn't kill you enough to have done something about it 10 years ago, or 9 years ago, or 8 years ago, or 7 years ago, or 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
He sent her to rehab before.
Yeah. All right, next, Linda points to a horrific night 10 years ago that she believes led to her using alcohol as a way to numb her pain. Her daughters say, that excuse has run its course. We'll talk about that after the break.
My mom's drinking has affected me the most because as the youngest of the family, she's been drinking for the majority of my life. I can't really remember a time when she wasn't drinking. She hasn't been very much of a mom to me in the past years. She doesn't seem to take an interest in me or my school life. The only thing that she really likes to do is complain and insult me. She says I'm too skinny, I look like I'm sick, I look like a skeleton. It makes me feel really bad because she never complains about the way my sisters look. Whenever I wear shorts or a skirt or any kind of dress, my mom will usually say that I look slutty. She'll call me a whore. My mom does know that I have insecurities about my body. I believe she knows that she's hurting me. I have very slight scoliosis, but that doesn't stop my mom from telling me that I'm a hunchback.
Hey, sounds straight.
I used to do really well in school, but lately my grades have been dropping. I do miss a lot of school, and my teachers are even starting to get concerned about me. My mom's jealous of my relationship with my dad.
I remember this day.
My mom does take it a step further and sometimes accuse my dad and I of having some kind of inappropriate relationship or saying that he treats me more like a wife than he treats her.
Yeah, take my daughter out for her 16th birthday without me. Because I didn't give birth. Because I didn't carry her for 9 months or give birth to her. You take her.
I'm really uncomfortable with this because it's obviously I don't have that relationship with my father. My mom has told me that I'm the reason that she's drinking. I despise what my mom has done with her drinking and how she's treated our family.
Did you listen to that?
Yes.
What did you hear?
I don't tell her she's too skinny. If she wears something that I think is too short, I'll say, well, you don't want to look slutty when you go to school. And I had no idea that she thought I was calling her a hunch. I mean, I said, don't walk like a hunchback.
You call her a hunchback.
Come on.
I wasn't doing it to be mean.
And you say all of this is a reaction to something that happened 10 years ago. That happened 10 years ago.
I was drugged and raped.
I hate that for you. That's terrible. There's no but at the end of that sentence. I hate that for you. And my question is, so does it seem reasonable to you to destroy your entire family and your own life?
I think I've been trying to destroy my life. And because I was trying to destroy my life or make me not have to think about it, I
for whatever you're trying to do?
I didn't mean for it to be that way, but that's what I have been doing. I've been trying not to think about it. I don't want to deal with it.
Seriously, in 10 years, you had to come here to have this conversation with me for me to point out to you for the first time, like, oh, I am abusive, negligent, and hurtful to my daughters.
Well,
somebody needs to get your attention, woman. She doesn't deserve this. She doesn't deserve this. She doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve this. You two, I don't get what the hell you're thinking.
She's been to rehab twice.
3 times.
Yeah, detox once and rehab twice. Every time we think that's the breaking point, this is going to get better.
So when she comes out of rehab and starts drinking, where's she get it?
Me.
You have no idea how much I want to slap out of you right now. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because I grew up in an alcoholic home. I grew up with a father that was drunk. I grew up when I wouldn't bring my friends home because I didn't know if my dad was going to be drunk in the driveway naked in Denver in January. I've been in there with the yelling and the screaming and the name calling and the throwing, and nobody would step up and man up and do something about it. And I resented it then for me, and I resent it now for the 3 of you. And they deserve better. They deserve better. Look, if something radical isn't done today, I believe Linda and Scott are at risk of having Autumn removed from their home. We're going to talk about that after the break. You have to change this, Scott.
My main reason for coming on the show is Autumn. I don't want her to grow up the way Devin and I have.
My wife seems to be particularly mean towards Autumn. Linda thinks that Autumn manipulates me and has me wrapped around her little finger.
My mom does treat Autumn the worst. I have spent a lot of my life trying to protect Autumn.
Now, I said before the break that I believe Linda and Scott are in danger of having their 16-year-old daughter removed from their home unless something drastic happens today. Drastic. Now, joining us on stage now is Dr. Charles Sophie. He's the medical director for the County of Los Angeles Department of Child and Family Services, the very county that Linda and Scott live in. Dr. Sophie has the authority to remove their daughter for just cause. And I'm not going to ask you to address that issue right now, but I'm going to ask you, first off, given the fact pattern, does this rise to the level of child abuse?
It rises way beyond the level of child abuse, way beyond the level. This girl has not had any parents. These girls, these women have never had any parents. There's no one there. So I'm there and I'm going to assess you and I'm going to say, well, you know, you're an accomplice here. Man up. Somebody, you could have left her a long time ago. You chose not to. You're helpless.
I'm a coward. I am a coward because I haven't stood up to her. I'm a coward because I haven't changed anything. I'm a coward because I haven't changed myself. But sometimes I feel overwhelmed. I still love her. I still care for her. I don't want to leave her in a shelter somewhere and just drive away.
But nobody's asking you to do that. We know you love her. They love her, but they're angry at her. They're going to go out and find husbands that are like you, and you're going to hate them. You're going to hate your son-in-laws because they're weak. Is that what you want?
No.
You want them guided by weak men in their life?
No.
That's what they're going to pick if you don't change this.
I didn't man up. You're right.
Does she deserve better?
She deserves 100 times better.
Does she deserve better? Does she deserve better?
They all do.
This situation needs a hero. And I nominate you.
Yep.
I do. I nominate you. She needs to get better once and for all. What you need, in my opinion, is not just detox, not just an addiction. You need to be in a dual diagnosis treatment center, meaning that you need to deal with this addiction over here, and you can't just stop what you're on right now or it will kill you.
Right.
You can't stop without medical supervision. Okay, so that needs to happen, and it needs to be a dual diagnosis treatment center that will deal with the addiction and will deal with the mental illness processes that are ongoing with you at the same time, so all of this is resolved at once. When we come back, I'm going to put some verbs in my sentences and tell you what we need to do here. I want to introduce Ben Levinson. Ben is the founder and chairman of Origins Recovery Center. This is, in my opinion, a nationally accredited leader in dual diagnosis treatment. Ben, we kind of got, come up here if you would. Yes. Have a seat, Ben. This is Ben Levinson.
Hi. Hello, family.
And Ben runs a dual diagnosis treatment center. Ben, can you start by helping this woman?
Absolutely. And we have a whole team of multidisciplinary professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, nurses. In fact, we have a nurse here with us today. You're not traveling by yourself. Who are standing by to really start from scratch and start assessing. We have to figure out what all is going on. And once we do that, we can start to treat those things in a simultaneous and integrated way.
There is no point in getting her running straight and level and then sending her home to the world's biggest enabler.
That's spot on.
So he's got to get right too.
Yep.
And, you know, Dr. Sophie is also a member of our advisory board here, and I hope you agree with me that this is a drastic enough plan that we don't need to take her out of the home if we implement this at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's a solid plan as long as you can maintain.
Are you willing to do this? And you got work to do while she is there.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Deal?
Yes.
Joining us is Carrie Caution, who is the CEO of Action Family Counseling, which provides a multidisciplinary approach to address all the aspects of individuals' mental health and well-being. Now, they provide intensive outpatient services and 24-hour residential care. And, Carrie?
Yeah.
We got a lot going on with this family here, right?
You know, I was listening to what Autumn said, and she said, what I want most is for my mother to go and get sober so that we can have a normal life. Let me tell you something. Scott, we can't have a normal life here until everybody changes.
Well,
you have to be sober.
So,
they have to be better.
Listen, I'm bringing a lot of resources to bear here. You know, I don't think I do 8-minute cures up here. I give people a wake-up call, point them down the right road. You're never going to have a better chance to turn this family around than right now, okay? All right. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a very special thanks to Dr. Charles Sophie for weighing in. Obviously, thanks to Ben Levinson and Origins Recovery Center for offering services for Linda's recovery. Chelsea, thank you for being here to fly with her. A special thanks to Gary Cason and Action Family Counseling providing resources for Scott to begin his recovery as well, because that's a big point. If you want more information on these amazing programs and facilities, go to originsrecovery.com or actionfamilycounseling.com. You can also go to drphil.com. That's a lot of .coms. Thanks for being here. So long. Thanks, guys.
Today on Dr. Phil.
Just leave me alone, you psycho! I'm the psycho, look at you!
He tapes his wife's tantrums.
You're beating your head against the wall.
She claims her husband torments her.
How hard did you hit her? Hit my head. That's not how hard you hit her. How hard did you hit her? When you're doing the recording, you're a good director.
Stay away from me, ow!
But the camera wasn't running when you were touching her. You didn't bring us that video, did you? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, Anthony Anthony and his wife, Melinda, have been married for almost a year and a half, and both say that today, this day, is going to be a defining day in their relationship, and I'm telling you that it needs to be. Both accuse the other of mental, verbal, and physical abuse and say they are on the brink of breaking apart their family. Anthony claims his wife's anger is so out of control that last July he captured this footage of his wife, Melinda, actually hitting herself in the head. Take a look.
You done smacking yourself in the head, Melinda?
What the ever? Just leave me alone, you psycho.
Oh, I'm the psycho. Look at you. Stop it. Stop it.
Melinda, on the other hand, says that Anthony's constant badgering and controlling behavior drives her to the brink. Here's a video that Anthony recorded just 3 weeks ago.
Stop. Stop. Stop hitting yourself.
Well, after that night, Melinda says she ran out of their home with their 15-month-old daughter. She has now moved 6 hours away and filed for divorce. Melinda, who is 5 months pregnant, says her husband has physically assaulted her on a weekly basis during both of her pregnancies, but he refuses to acknowledge what he's done or get help. Now, Anthony, on the other hand, says it's his wife who is beating herself up. He says she has punched herself in the eye, choked herself, and even bitten him on multiple occasions. Now, he says she has even gone to police and falsely reported that he was the one that caused her injuries.
Stop! You're f***ing up my entire house. Oh, I'm the psycho. Look at you. Knock it the f*** off.
My husband Anthony is abusive, full of drama, and out of control. And it's making my life miserable. When Anthony gets mad, he is like the Hulk. He has given me multiple black eyes, stood on top of my chest, jumped on me.
9 times out of 10, it's her just making things up.
Ow! 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 Why did you hit me?
Melinda has hit me.
Hit me in the Get away from me!
She's kicked me in the testicles. She's bit me several times.
Stay away from me! Ow! Ow! Look at her! She's biting me! Ow!
It's ridiculous. Out of all the fights, I have only fought back twice, but he's constantly telling his family that I am the abuser.
Look at you!
Taking my daughter from
Look
me.
at you!
You're the one cutting me off
Look
from
at you!
everything.
Melinda's anger is so out of control that she'll start actually hurting herself.
Stop it! Stop it!
I've seen her bang her head up against cabinets.
You done smacking yourself in the head, Melinda?
I've watched her punch herself and lots of other bad stuff.
Anthony is to a point where there is absolutely no stopping him. During my pregnancies, he has continued to be physically abusive. One time, Anthony followed me out of the bathroom and started fighting me down onto the ground. He got over on top of me and started choking me with both hands until a point I blacked out.
I pushed her while she was pregnant, but I've never choked her out.
He had me scared that he was going to kill me.
Now, Melinda says the fight they had 3 weeks ago was the absolute last straw.
Anthony's constant abuse has brought me to my breaking point. Last month, I finally had enough of his abuse. Anthony started an argument.
Stop hitting yourself. Get the
Screaming and yelling at me, calling me a bitch, a horrible mother.
Get the away from me. That's what I want right now.
It was a very intense situation.
I kept telling Anthony that he had won, that I couldn't play his games anymore.
She was getting so upset. I picked up my daughter at that point.
Give me my daughter!
Calm down.
They just give me my daughter!
Calm down. Stop.
Anthony grabbed our daughter and started telling me that I needed to leave and I wouldn't see her until we got a divorce.
You just let me give her.
If I let you give her a hug, you're gonna snatch her from me and run out the door.
Not.
At that point, I snapped.
Mandy?
You're
pulled the kitchen drawer out on herself. She broke the door frame. She was banging her head up against the wall.
They give me my daughter!
Then I bit his back. It was extremely crazy and completely out of hand.
Stop!
I was finally able to get my daughter back, and I left. I took my daughter and we went to my grandparents 6 hours away, and I filed for divorce.
Okay, now, look, this looks like complete and utter chaos that's going on here. You knew he was videotaping you.
Yes.
Why are you behaving that way?
Behaving that way because what he doesn't include is for a good hour, 2 hours before that, he's following me through the house. He's getting in my face, screaming and yelling at me, cussing me out. And I broke down. I don't know what else to do. I mean, I just completely lost it.
So what's going through your head at that moment?
We've had a lot of issues in between us, and me recording that, there's no hour before in this instance where I'm acting out of control. I've been accused of several things that I haven't done to her. I have myself, and I wanted to start off with this. I have been physically abusive with her.
What have you done to her physically?
I have hit her before, and I've been very emotionally abusive to her before as well too.
You say you've hit her before. How many times have you hit her?
It's been about 5 to 6 times that I've struck her.
And where have you hit her?
I've hit her in the eye, and I've pushed her.
Because your implication of the tape was that she hit herself and gave herself a black eye.
She has before as well. I felt like
Did you hit her with your fist? Did you hit her with your slapper?
I hit her with my fist, sir.
And how did you do that? Show me how you did that.
Just straightforward.
Okay. And how hard did you hit her? Hit my hand. How hard did you hit her?
I hit her.
Hit my hand. How hard did you hit her?
I mean, I hit her.
No,
pretty
that's
hard.
not how hard you hit her. How hard did you hit her?
I mean, if place your hand up again. I did. I reared back and I hit her in the eye.
How hard did he hit you?
He hit me hard enough to knock me to the floor.
And that's not true. You were sitting at the time.
No, I was standing up. You followed me into the bedroom. I was standing up and you knocked me to the floor.
Let's take a break. Melinda says Anthony has a drug problem. Is she telling the truth? Has he really spent thousands on his habit like Melinda says? Anthony says he has no problem with drugs whatsoever, and his wife likes to exaggerate. I think this whole situation is just beyond toxic, but we're going to try to sort it out. We'll be right back.
My 4-year-old stepdaughter has been the source of the problems between Anthony and I.
She's called her a little brat, little bitch, devil child. One time, I struck Melinda after she called her.
Anthony uses drugs, and it does affect his behavior.
Whenever Melinda says I'm on drugs, she's wrong. I'm not some hardcore drug addict.
Anthony smokes at least 3 blunts a day, and it makes him absolutely paranoid.
In the past, I was smoking marijuana to avoid dealing with her and the problems that we were having, but I'm not currently on drugs.
Anthony's constantly blowing money, but can't tell me where it's going, and I'm sure it's going towards drugs. He needs to stop.
Well, Melinda says her husband is abusive and a drug addict. Anthony denies it. One thing they can agree on, though, is that their biggest fights are over Anthony's 4-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. Melinda says it's gotten so bad, she demanded that Anthony give up his rights to his daughter.
My 4-year-old stepdaughter has been the source of the problems between Anthony and I.
Melinda does not respect my daughter. She's called her a little brat, little bitch, devil child. One time, I struck Melinda after she called her.
Anthony does not discipline his daughter at all. Every time I try, he tells my stepdaughter, Melinda's just being a bitch. You don't have to listen to her.
I do not allow Melinda to be disciplined because it's always excessive.
Early last month, we got into an argument about disciplining his daughter. It started a huge fight. I walked into the bedroom to get away from Anthony. He followed me in. He started screaming and yelling at me, telling me how I was being mean and vindictive. After I started fighting back, he then punched me in the face. Anthony hit me so hard that it gave me a black eye.
I never punched her and knocked her glasses off and gave her a black eye.
When he saw that it was bruising up, he gave himself 2 black eyes. So I could not call the cops and make a report. It's psychotic. Another problem I have with my stepdaughter is I have witnessed her inappropriately touching our 1-year-old. When I told Anthony, he told me that I was just overreacting.
Melinda's looking for a reason to punish my daughter.
I do not want my stepdaughter around my daughter.
She's tried to get me to give up custody of my daughter. It's completely unacceptable. If Melinda can't accept my daughter, our marriage will never work.
So you've asked him to give up his daughter?
After this last fight, I told him that I would not live in the same house with her any longer.
And you believe that's a reasonable request?
Anthony refuses to be a parent in general. He has said multiple times that he wants to be her friend. He wants her to like him, so he refuses to punish. He refuses to step up and be a parent.
Would that be a yes?
Yes.
So you've asked
Yes.
him to give up his daughter?
Yes.
You say he doesn't have good parenting skills, so therefore I want him to terminate his relationship with his daughter.
I have not said terminate. I have suggested multiple times for every other weekend.
She's asked you to give up your daughter?
Yes, on multiple occasions, and I refuse to do that. I mean, I love my children now.
By the way, all these fights that we were watching at the top of the show here where you're beating your head against the wall and beating yourself in the head and tearing the door off the hinges, and where was the 15-month-old?
The 15-month-old was in my arms whenever she knocked the door over and all that was going on.
Okay, so you're walking around taping this, holding this baby.
Yeah, and
Right, so you got this baby in one arm and you're taping.
I was hoping it would be a deterrent, yes, but that's what I was doing.
Yeah, let's look at this again. This is while you're holding a 15-month-old child. Let's look at this again.
Get off of me. Get off of me. Get the off. Get off.
You just let me have her!
Get out. Go calm down. Get out. Go calm down. Get out.
You can take
Get
my
out.
daughter from
Get
me!
out. Get out. Get out.
Shame on you people. This. That is absolute, unmitigated child abuse. There is no other word for it. You are guilty of it. You are guilty of it. And that is shameful. Next, we'll hear from Anthony's ex-girlfriend who says Anthony is so dangerous, she has a restraining order against him. We have kept these two far apart today. We're going to find out what she says was the scariest moment with her ex, Anthony.
Anthony was extremely abusive. I was being slapped, punched, having shirts, jackets ripped off my body. Anthony made me feel like I had absolutely no control over anything I could do.
Where's your money at? You've got money.
When it comes to finances, I am completely at Anthony's mercy. When I need money, I have to tell Anthony exactly what I need. He then decides if he will give me the money. When I went to a fast food place, I would have to tell him exactly penny for penny what I got.
That's a very ridiculous assertion. Melinda was the one that was in control of most of our finances until she withdrew $600 out of the account, and it put me short on a lot of our bills. At this point, I don't trust her with the finances. I don't feel comfortable.
Okay, now somebody's lying there, because that is diametrically opposing stories. You're saying he controls every penny, which is a form of financial control, isolation, and abuse. You're saying that's absurd. She controls the finances. Now, somebody's lying.
We have a joint bank account together.
We had
a joint bank account together. I enjoyed the fact that we had joint finances together because you were better with money than I was. And until that incident when we separated that time, and I don't remember the exact amount, whether it's like $500-600 that you took out of the account, I mean, my trust was really shaken a lot at that point. But I mean, at any point, if you've needed anything for our youngest daughter, or I've just told you to ask her that I'd go to the store with you.
If I needed something, I have to come to you. I have to tell you, and I will go to the store and get it. I'll get it.
As we've been separated, though. But before
Even
we separated.
before that, and you have your cards. You have all the bank cards.
I let you handle
I think I understand. Anthony says he shares 50-50 custody of his 4-year-old daughter with his ex-girlfriend, Alaire. She is sequestered backstage because of a restraining order she has in place against Anthony. Here's how she describes her relationship with him.
I was in a relationship with Anthony for almost 5 years. In the very beginning, everything was great. After 6 months of dating, that's when everything started to change. Anthony made me feel like I had absolutely no control over anything I could do. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't go hang out with my friends. I couldn't talk on the phone without it causing a fight. I couldn't have any type of email or social media account. Anthony was extremely abusive. I was being slapped, punched, having shirts, jackets ripped off my body, being pushed down, shoved against walls. One time Anthony and I were arguing, and he took his fist like this and punched me so hard into my leg that you could see in the bruising the outline of each finger and knuckle. While I was pregnant, Anthony was physically abusive with me. Anthony shoved me, he hit me so hard with the palm of his hand on my face that it left bruising. 4.5 years into our relationship, I finally decided that I was going to leave him. After I left Anthony, he tried to destroy my life and terrorize me in any way he could. One time, Anthony showed up to my residence to come pick up our daughter. He started a confrontation with my boyfriend. During this argument, Anthony pulled up his shirt and exposed a gun. I feel like I did the right thing by getting away from him.
You're shaking your head no while you're watching this.
Well, there's a lot of truth in what she said, in that we had a very bad relationship, and I wasn't the best to her at all times as well too. I mean, I was extremely insecure with her a lot of the times, but the whole restraining order, that was done during our pending custody case of our mutual daughter.
What you seem to kind of gloss over. There's a lot of truth in what she said. What she said is that you were mentally, emotionally, and physically abusive with her.
I was with her, and she was also with me as well too.
Okay. Does there seem to be a pattern?
Yes, sir.
Here? Does it seem to be working for you?
No, sir.
Because you're going to wind up in jail. Seriously in jail. All right, I'm going to take a break. I told Alaire that I would speak with her. In order to do that, I have to excuse Anthony. He has to leave the stage because of the protection order she has against him. He's going to come back. She has a lot that she wants to say to his current wife about the man that they both say they fear. I don't think this is all one way. I can tell you that. I think we've all seen that this, like I said, one log won't burn. It takes two sides to have this ongoing controversy here. We're going to talk with Alaire when we come back, and then we'll have Anthony rejoin. We'll be back.
Every time Melinda calls me to tell me about fights that they've had, I tell her that you need to leave. Anthony told me that Melinda was abusing him. I did not believe Anthony at all. Anthony tries to turn everything around, but this is just another tactic for him to push the blame on somebody else for what he's doing.
Well, I'm here with Melinda. Her husband, Anthony, has just been asked to go backstage, so his ex-girlfriend, Alaire, can join us. Now, Alaire says Anthony was a gentleman during their first year of dating, but after that came bruises, slaps, kicks, and what she describes as severe mental abuse. She wants Melinda to get the hell away from Anthony and stay away for good.
After Anthony and Melinda had been together for 3 months, I was already starting to hear about the abuse between them. I tried over and over to warn her about his personality. She either didn't believe me or maybe thought he could change him, but in the end, she did not take my advice. Every time Melinda calls me to tell me about fights that they've had, I tell her the same thing over and over. It's not going to change. It's going to get worse. You need to leave. On one occasion, Anthony showed me the bite marks on his arms. Anthony told me that Melinda was abusing him. I did not believe Anthony at all. Anthony tries to turn everything around to make it look like the other person is at fault, the other person is violent, the other person is crazy. But this is just another tactic for him to push the blame on somebody else for what he's doing. And that's why he keeps fooling every judge he gets in front of. If I was to give Melinda some advice, I would tell her to file for divorce and to do everything that she can to keep herself and her children as far away from him as possible.
Okay, Alaire, thank you for being here today, and I know it's easier not to because you've gotten out of this situation, you've got a protection order in place, you've moved on, but you think she's in danger.
Yes, I do.
And what do you want to say to her?
Please get away from him and stay away from him. Protect your kids.
Why did you stay for 5 years? Will you say that it got bad after a year?
When I was with Anthony, he would turn things around on me to make me feel like things were my fault. He would.
Did he do it with you?
He does that on a regular basis.
Whenever I would start to feel like I wanted to leave and end the relationship, he would do things to try to make things better, apologize, cry, threaten suicide, things to make me feel bad and to make me think that things were going to change between the two of us. And then towards the second half of the relationship, I started becoming worried about leaving him because I didn't want to lose my daughter and I didn't know how he was going to react if I go.
His threat is if I leave, he's going to take full custody. If I leave, I'm never going to see my daughter again. It is. That's how he scares you.
Why didn't you fix him and stay?
Because I didn't want my daughter growing up thinking that the way he was treating me and the things he was saying to me was okay and that was normal. I was scared for my child. But
my point is that even if we're not together, he's still going to be involved in the kids. You guys aren't together, but he's still involved. My concern is the kids, whether we're together or not. That's besides the point. I'm worried about what he's going to keep bringing and doing in front of the girls.
If you would show up to court the next time he gets another assault charge, if you would actually go and file the charges, not file a protection order and then drop it, if you would take these measures like I didn't and learn from my mistakes, you could protect them from this and he wouldn't keep getting the kids. And then judges would start to be able to see what's really going on and stop believing his lies every time he goes in front of court. I'm not trying to attack you, but you can do it. You have the power, you have the evidence, you've had the bruises, you've had your teeth busted, you've been stepped on after you found out you got cancer. You have everything you need that I didn't. I should have done that. It was too late for me. And now my child's still in that environment, seeing those things and hearing those things. I've read the police reports. I know what's happening. And it's scary. Someone's going to get hurt or killed. He's not going to change. You can't help someone that won't help themselves. But those little kids can't do anything about where they're at and who their parents are and what we do with them. They have no control over their lives. We have to look out for them.
This situation is bad, volatile, needs to be changed dramatically. You're putting yourself at risk. You're putting your child at risk. So, Robin, where does this lead? I mean, how bad? You deal with this every day. You're in the shelters with these women. You hold their hands. You walk through their lives. Is this going to get better on its own, or is this going to get worse?
No, it will get worse. It really does come down to a choice that you have to make. And that is that you have to do whatever it takes to get out of that situation. You have to take the steps. And I know it's hard, and I know it's scary. And if you will go to whengeorgiasmiled.org, we have the resources on there. We list programs on there that you can read and that you can learn what you have to do. But the first step is to build a support system around you. And sometimes that's friends, that's family members, that's coworkers, but you have to build a support system that will help you do this. And you do whatever it takes. And sometimes it's a slow process. You start building a bag for when it's time to leave, and in that you put important papers. You put what money you have. You put special things for your children that will bring them comfort. And then you do not listen to his threats. The number one tool an abuser uses is to isolate you and then start abusing you with threats and telling you that he's going to take your children from you. And another important thing to do is to document, just as you said, document everything that he's doing with pictures and telling your other friends and everything about it. But there is a step and a process, but the number one thing you have to do is to remember you have to be safe. And for you and your children.
Talk about separation assault for a minute, because that period of time when you separate from the abuser and they panic is a high-risk period of time.
That is when the most deaths occur. After you leave your abuser, that's when more deaths occur. So that's why I say take your time and do it with safety in mind.
Yeah, I mean, the point is, it's not easy, and it is dangerous to try to get away, because it's what's called the frustration effect. Abusers try to control, and when you slip away, they panic and they try to increase that control, and that's when they get desperate and do desperate things, which is why this going to mom's house or sister's house is often not enough, because they know where mom's house is, they know where sister's house is. And look, this is a situation that is very volatile. You're putting yourself at risk, you're putting your child at risk, you're putting your unborn child at risk. That is highly unstable behavior. You've got to calm down. You've got to quit believing. Has he ever done one sustained effort to change who he is?
No.
Has he ever gone to anger management classes in a sustained way? Has he ever gone to any type of therapy program in a sustained way? Has he ever done anything to make a serious attempt to change who he is?
No, he started going to a batterer's intervention, and as soon as they set him up on a 34-week course, he stopped going.
Yeah. So you think that this is going to just cure up on its own? It is not. And clearly your problem-solving skills are not good. His management skills, emotional skills, coping skills, stress management skills are not good. This situation is bad, volatile, needs to be changed dramatically, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I think that needs to happen. All right. We're going to have to bring him back out here. Listen, you were very candid in your tape pieces. You have looked her in the eye, told her straight up what you think she needs to do. You've taken very clear stock of what you should have done yourself.
Yes, sir.
And I think that impacts a lot of women by your having the candor to do that. So thank you for being here today. Next, I'm going to invite Anthony back on stage to respond to Alaire's accusations, hear what he has to say. We'll be right back.
I've spent time trying to fix our marriage. At one point, I had got us in to see our pastor for marriage counseling. He didn't like what our pastor had told him, so he stopped going.
Melinda was the one that didn't hear what she wanted from that pastor, so she decided that we shouldn't go there anymore.
I have tried to set up appointments with other multiple counselors, and he never wants to follow through.
I think I just felt frustrated about our relationship at that point, so I didn't want to have any counseling.
Well, I'm here with Anthony, who's been backstage listening to what his ex-girlfriend had to say. Anything in particular, quickly, you want to respond to about what she had to say?
I mean, she portrays it as if the whole thing was bad and none of that she didn't do anything. I mean, she puts on this portrayal as if she was 100% in the right 100% of the time, and I think that's false. I mean, I know that's false.
What would you say? Would it be 50-50, 75-25, 80-20?
75-25.
75 you, 25
80,
her?
yeah. I mean, like I said, I do acknowledge that I was primarily in the wrong with her.
All right, but that's in your past, and let's keep it there.
Yes.
You two have a daughter together.
Yes, sir.
And so you do have to have some contact through co-parenting, or do you meet through an intermediary?
We have an intermediary.
You exchange the child through the intermediary?
Yes.
So you don't have any contact because of the protection order?
Yeah.
What do you think needs to happen here in this situation?
I think we both need to learn better. I mean, the best thing I think I've heard is we both need to learn how to resolve or how to argue, I guess. I mean, how to resolve our differences whenever we get upset with each other. And instead of everything being a screaming, yelling, cussing match between us and things getting violent in between us, that we have to learn some way to get along better, or maybe it's best that we do separate. I'm not sure if we will work it out, but I mean, that would be my goal.
How do your mom and dad get along?
They don't. They've been divorced for some time, so.
How'd they get along when they were together when you were there?
They fought like cats and dogs, so.
You're living what you learned.
I don't even think that's an adequate excuse, but I mean, I guess it upsets me to hear that, man, because I mean, one of the things that I always tried to, through some of the things that I experienced in my childhood, I always thought that I could make things better. I didn't want my children to have to grow up in a lot of ways that I had to grow up, but a lot of it's happened. You're right. I mean.
But aren't you doing exactly what your mother and father did?
Yes.
So aren't you making sure that your children are going through exactly what you went through, that you hated so bad?
I am, and I need help.
How about you? What do you think needs to happen here?
Most importantly, because I know that our little girl absolutely loves her dad, I would like to see Anthony proceed with help instead of making up excuses as to why it's okay, and to stop blaming me, blaming Alaire for everything that's happened. But I want to see him get help so our little girls don't grow up thinking it's okay for someone to treat them the way that you have treated us.
Here's the deal. Neither one of you, in my opinion, are equipped to be in this relationship right now at all, period. You are an abuser. It is never okay for any reason to ever put your hands on a woman in anger, ever, for any reason, period. Period. You know how to do it when you're doing the recording. Now, baby, come on now. Steven Spielberg, I get it. You're a good director, I get that when you're doing the recording, but the camera wasn't running when you were punching her. You didn't bring us that video, did you? You are a broken young man. You need help. I'll get you the help.
Thank you.
It's a place called Onsite. And this is a place that is really about relationship dynamics. It's really about how you figure a way to be a hero in your relationship. And I'm willing to make arrangements for you to go there and to get an intensive workshop to get you jump-started down the road to helping you in this regard. And if you're willing to do that, I will make those arrangements for you. And when you're through, then there will be a whole program of follow-up work for you to do therapeutically to help you become the man that you can be, because you aren't doing that now.
You're right.
It's my gift to your family.
Thank you, sir.
If you will take it.
Yes, sir.
You need to get yourself pulled together. You need help to get yourself settled down, calm down, and come up with ways to express yourself that don't involve beating your head against the wall or punching yourself in the head. And I will get you help with that. You know about Doctor on Demand, which we use here on the show. We have mental health services that we have provided for that with a doctor-level therapist where you don't even have to leave home. You can sit there with your baby right beside you, and you can...
I've used it before for our daughter.
Well, I'm glad you have, and I'm going to make those arrangements for you so you don't even have to...
আজ থেকে অনেক বছর আগের কথা। একটা ছোট্ট গ্রামে উর্মিলা তার স্বামীর সাথে বসবাস করত। অনেক বছর কেটে যাবার পরও তাদের ঘর আলো করে কোনো সন্তান আসে না, তাই তো উর্মিলার মন সব সময় খারাপ থাকতো। আজ উর্মিলা তার স্বামীর সাথে পুরাতন একটা বাড়ির কাছে যায়, আর যখনই তারা ওই বাড়ির সামনে এসে দাঁড়ায় তখন উর্মিলা ও তার স্বামীর অনেক অবাক লাগে, কারণ ওই পুরাতন বাড়ির মধ্য থেকে কালো কালো ধোঁয়া বেরিয়ে আসছিল। মনে হচ্ছিল ওই বাড়ির মধ্যে কেউ আগুন জ্বালিয়ে কিছু একটা পোড়াচ্ছে। উর্মিলা, তুমি আমায় কোথায় নিয়ে এসেছো? এইখানে এসে আমার কোনো কিছুই ঠিকঠাক লাগছে না। আমার মনে হচ্ছে এই ঘরে কেউ তপস্যা করছে, কোনো তান্ত্রিক বাবা হবে হয়তো। তবে চলো আমরা এখান থেকে তাড়াতাড়ি চলে যাই। এখান থেকে গিয়ে আমরা
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks. Attack the mark! Marked a location. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks. We are number 1. We're the best. We are number 1.